here. Blocky takes those shots against Newgen. Newgen! Newgen! They will be able to bag a lot, but Newgen themselves gets eliminated by Trot WYS. And now Eva Radicals making their way in here to the final zone. Golden Views, Whisket as well taken out. A double nade being sent by Tanamo as well as Rabiel. But Trot WYS finishes them as well with those names, Neptune. JC Jacob, he just has got shit in front of him, pulls out the castle flash, and the plan goes for the pickup right now. And they will have two players on their side, but not a lot of cover.
Oh, and there goes the hit. Eagle will be flying out and will be hit. Will be able to run away, AJ, but how long?
Hello, my name is John Michael El Serra, also known as McRory. I am 23 years old. I am from Team Betty Esports and my position is team captain. One fun fact about myself is I started playing games since I was young and even won a physical prize. Ang gaming setup ko ay simple lang. Phone ko, earphones, isang unan, pulbos, at isang boteng tubig. Nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire noong November 2017, pinakilala kasi ito sa akin ng aking kaibigan, and proud akong sabihin na isa ako sa mga beta player. The game is very fun and competitive, at kahit sobrang tagal ko na naglalaro ng Free Fire, bawat match o laro is still as exciting as the day noong nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire. Ang best moment ko ay nung ginamit ko ang grenade launcher to do a squad wipe in FFPO Grand Finals Game 2, and it gave my team a momentum to get a booyah in that round. Isa sa pangarap ko ang maging professional esports player. Madami ako nasalihan at naipanalo ng tournament, kaya nang sumikap ako hanggang sa nabot kay pagiging pro player. Isa pang dahilan ay kumikita ako ng pera habang ginagawa ko yung hilig ko. After matapos ng MCP Season 1, umalis yung dalawa kong player, at dahil invited ang team ko sa MCP Season 2, naganap ako ng 2 player para ma-meet yung requirement. Nirecommend ng kaibigan ko yung dalawang player na kakilala niya na may experience sa tournament, kaya agad ko sila ni-recruit upang mabuo ang SAP Deathwish na ang tawag ngayon ay Betty Esports. Yung time na sa sobrang Seni 4 beats, nampas niya ng unan sa mukha si Daemon nung nagawa namin maging top 3 sa Group A play-ins ng Free Fire Asia Championship. Want to know how I play? Catch me on Free Fire Challengers Philippines. Tara, Free Fire!
Right now is in there going in, taking down
Oh,
Crusaders,
wow.
but no Sao has been taken down. AKO right now is a prime position.
Blake's not going to be too happy about that, but there's nothing he can do. Mark shuts down fire before he can get away, and those snipers Backup might just come through. They go in for the pickup, but what a play! Atkins gets taken out of the equation as well. Reveyolas gets into the fight against Equinox. Equinox shutting them down one after the other. Hacks will get caught as well, and it looks like the players are facing Esports with McRory. Stop that. Tokyo now back on the ground. McRory from afar. Grenade launcher not in play just yet. McRory, the Kobe of 8 Esports, finally pulls out that nade. Is he going to be able to hit it? Yes, he hits it! India. Blocky takes those shots against Newgen. Newgen! Newgen! They will be able to bag a lot, but Newgen themselves gets eliminated by Trot WYS. And now Eva Radicals making their way in here to the final zone. Golden Views, Whisket as well taken out. A double nade being sent by Tanamo as well as Rabiel. But Trot WYS finishes them as well with those nades, Neptune. JC Jacob, he just has got machine in front of him, pulls out the castle flash, and the plant goes for the pickup right now. And they will have 2 players on their side, but not a lot of cover.
And there goes the hit. Eagle will be flying out and will be hit. Will be able to run away, AJ, but how long?
Hello, my name is John Michael Elcera, also known as McRory. I am 23 years old. I am from Team Betty Esports and my position is team captain. One fun fact about myself is I started playing games since I was young and even won a physical prize. Ang gaming setup ko ay simple lang. Phone ko, earphones, isang unan, pulbos, at isang boteng tubig. Nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire noong November 2017, pinakilala kasi ito sa akin ng aking kaibigan, and proud akong sabihin na isa ako sa mga beta player. The game is very fun and competitive, at kahit sobrang tagal ko na naglalaro ng Free Fire, bawat match o laro is still as exciting as the day noong nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire. Ang best moment ko ay nung ginamit ko ang grenade launcher to do a squad wipe in FFPO Grand Finals Game 2, and it gave my team a momentum to get a booyah in that round. Isa sa pangarap ko ang maging professional esports player. Madami ako nasalihan at naipanalo ng tournament, kaya nang sumikap ako hanggang sa nabot kay pagiging pro player. Isa pang dahilan ay kumikita ako ng pera habang ginagawa ko yung hilig ko. After matapos ng MCP Season 1, umalis yung dalawang player, at dahil invited ang team ko sa MCP Season 2, naganap ako ng 2 player para ma-meet yung requirement. Nirecommend ng kaibigan ko yung dalawang player na kakilala niya na may experience sa tournament, kaya agad ko sila ni-recruit upang mabuo ang Subdeath Wish na ang tawag ngayon ay Betty Esports. Yung time na sa sobrang Seni 4 beats, nampas niya ng unan sa mukha si Daemon nung nagawa namin maging top 3 sa Group A play-ins ng Free Fire Asia Championship. Want to know how I play? Catch me on Free Fire Challengers Philippines. Tara, Free Fire!
Yeah, Waves right now is in there going in, taking down
Oh,
Crusaders,
wow.
but no, Sao has been taken down. AKO right now is in prime position.
Blake's not going to be too happy about that, but there's nothing he can do. Mark shuts down Fire before he can get away, and those snipes, the backup might just come through. They go in for the pickup, but what a play! Axis gets taken out of the equation as well. Reveolas gets into the fight against Equinox. Equinox shutting them down one after the other. Pax will get caught as well, and it looks like the players of Esports with McRory. Stop that. Tokyo now back on the ground. McRory from afar. Grenade launcher not in play just yet. McRory, the Kobe of AJ Esports, finally pulls out that nade. Is he going to be able to hit it? Yes, he hits it! In here, Blocky takes those shots against Newgen. Newgen! Newgen! They will be able to bag a lot, but Newgen themselves gets eliminated by Trot WYS, and now Eva Radical making their way in here to the final zone. Golden Views, Whisket as well taken out. A double nade being sent by Tanamo as well as Rabiel! But Trot WYS finishes them as well with those nades, Neptune! JC Jacob, he just has got shit in front of him, pulls out the camouflage, and the plant goes for the pickup right now. And they will have two players on their side, but not a lot of cover.
Oh, and there goes the hit.
Okay, double knock.
Eagle will be flying out and will be hit. Will be able to run away, AJ, but how long?
Hello, my name is John Michael L. Serra, also known as McRory. I am 23 years old. I am from Team Betty Esports and my position is Team Captain. One fun fact about myself is I started playing games since I was young and even won a physical prize. Ang gaming setup ko ay simple lang. Phone ko, earphones, isang unan, pulbos, at isang boteng tubig. Nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire noong November 2017, pinakilala kasi ito sa akin ng aking kaibigan, and proud akong sabihin na isa ako sa mga beta player. The game is very fun and competitive, at kahit sobrang tagal ko na naglalaro ng Free Fire, bawat match o laro is still as exciting as the day noong nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire. Ang best moment ko ay nung ginamit ko ang grenade launcher to do a squad wipe in FFPO Grand Finals Game 2, and it gave my team a momentum to get a booyah in that round. Isa sa pangarap ko ang maging professional esports player. Madami ako nasalihan at naipanalong tournament kaya nang sumikap ako kasanabot kay pagiging pro player. Isa pang dahilan ay kumikita ako ng pera habang ginagawa ko yung hilig ko. After matapos ng MCP Season 1, umalis yung dalawa kong player at dahil invited ang team ko sa MCP Season 2, naganap ako ng 2 player para ma-meet yung requirement. Nirecommend ng kaibigan ko yung dalawang player na kakilala niya na may experience sa tournament kaya agad ko sila ni-recruit upang mabuo ang SAP Deathwish na ang tawag ngayon ay Bete Esports. Yung time na sa sobrang 74 bits, nampas niya ng unan sa mukha si Damon nung nagawa namin maging top 3 sa Group A play-ins ng Free Fire Asia Championship. Want to know how I play? Catch me on Free Fire Challengers Philippines. Tara, Free Fire!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the final day of the Free Fire Challenger Series Philippines League stages, where the top 17 teams in the country battle it out for a huge prize pool that we have in store for them at the league stages and at the grand finals as well. We'll walk you guys through it in a bit. My name's AJ, I'm the Mustachio, down here with the one and only Beef Mommy to bring you guys all of the hottest action from today before we step into the grand finals.
Ooh, and it's a very spicy day because it's the last day where all these teams will fight for all of those 12 spots. And you know what? We don't know what's going to happen because, you know, a lot of teams, probably like 5 or 6 teams can really fight for the last spot.
Yeah.
And really, today is the day where it's do or die. And I'm excited if they are going to go into that finals day.
Yeah, you know, we've been having our eyes on New Gen for quite a while now. And at times when I even didn't expect them to pick up a few points for themselves, they've proven me wrong. They've gone out there and they've bashed their heads through to the other teams, and they've managed to pick a few up. They are quite a long way away, about 20 plus points before the 12th spot. So it's going to take a lot for New Gen to get up there. But you know, like you said, Beef, anything can happen in here today, right? Quite a number of teams, including Black Angel, Monkey Tribe, Trot WYS, as well as Reviolas, all fighting for that 12th spot. Axis sits in the 11th position. Are they going to get unlucky where, you know, they have all of the other teams rising above them in here today as they drop in performance? I don't know. A lot for us to witness in here, but it's also a case of seeing exactly who secures that number 1 spot, isn't it?
You're right. I mean, the number 1 spot, Vedi Esports, really just holding down 9 booyahs already. So that's very impressive to see. They just keep impressing us every single day, especially after that shuffle of the rosters, right? So, you know what? I think I don't know, at this point, I think Eva Radicals can actually try to overcome it. If they do as well as they did yesterday, then I'm pretty sure they can overtake them.
Yeah, that's what, close to 50 points for them to go in there and fight for themselves. It's going to be a crazy day if Eva Radical is going to be able to pull this off. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there is a slight difference in the top 3 if you look at the prize pool, right? Each and every single squad within the competition at the league stages itself, they get a little bit of a slice of that pie. Only difference is how big your slice is. From the very bottom, 2,500 pesos if you get the 15th to the 18th position, 5,000 pesos if you place anywhere between the 11th and the 14th spot. 9th and 10th spot gets you 7,500, 10,000 pesos for those who place between the 5th as well as the 8th position, 15,000 pesos for the sports spot. And this is where, you know, things get a little dicey because it gets super competitive, right? 25,000 every single rank that increases from the 3rd spot onwards. You've got 25k, 50,000, and then 75,000. But this is not all, Beef. We've got more waiting for us at the grand finals.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Like, honestly, the first prize here, it looks like crumbs compared to what we have into the final stages of where all of these teams really want to be in. Take a look at that. 400,000 pesos for the grand finals. That is such a huge amount. But taking a look at what you have into the 2nd and 3rd spot, that's a huge drop. That's more than half of what you can get into that 1st spot. So you definitely want to be in the 2nd, 1st as well. And I mean, you know, 75k, that's really a big amount of money as well. That's what you're going to win into this league stages. But you definitely want to be that 1st.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, imagine if you can bag the 1st spot at the league stages as well as the grand finals, right? You are going to be smiling all the way to the bank. And teams like Vete Esports, that's exactly what they want. But are they going to be able to fight back against teams like Eva Radicals, who have been playing possum mob throughout the competition, AKO Ligers, when they have struck hard and fast towards the end of the competition? They seem to be doing more than enough, even better than Eva Radicals. So all of this prize pool, although it's super enticing, progressing. It's also creating such a competitive environment here at the Free Fire Challenges Philippines Season 1. And it's just absolutely insane how all of those situations break down. And of course, as usual, Beef, this will be the point system that we follow.
Absolutely. And for them to really just rank up the points, you need to make sure you get this balance. You don't want to just be first place because we've seen it already before. VPH Velocity yesterday, they didn't get a win, but they still got top place. I think it was Kalahari, where they got more points than the team that actually got the booyah. So it's important to have kills, and you also have placement points as well. Taking a look at here, first place will get 12 points. Going down to the very end, you don't want to have 11th and 12th spot because you're going to get 0 placement points. So if that's the case, make sure you do get a lot of those kills.
Yeah, and a lot of these teams that have been aiming for the booyahs recently, they have been most definitely securing those perfect kills for themselves, except for 1 or 2 odd times where you have a survivor purely getting there through those placement points, not really aiming for those aggressive plays. And those teams in the final day, they need to find a way to beef it up, right? And yep, I'm most definitely looking at teams like Black Angel, Monkey Tribe, Trot WYS. They have to hustle today. Group A has got, as usual, your Titans, aka Ligers, Eva Radicals, Govila Views, Vete Esports, Who's Next, as well as New Gen. And you know, this was the joke that we kind of cracked early on when New Gen got thrown into the mix with the rest of these Group A players. When you mix with the best, you tend to improve super fast as well, Beef.
Oh yeah, definitely. And for New Gen, they've been creeping up just slowly and surely, and surprisingly, they can actually have a chance to reach that top 12 spot. But you know what? Group B is definitely not gonna give them a really easy time as well. Black Angel, Bloody Head, Eco Oblivions, the Vindicators, and Trot WYS, definitely a very impressive group as well. I feel like Group A, this is kind of their, I think this is their kryptonite, because you can see Bloody Head absolutely just smashing it all the way through. But taking a look at our schedule for today, now I'm so interested to see here because we got Purgatory and Bermuda. Yesterday we had Bermuda and Kalahari. This is definitely going to be changing the game for the groups, for the teams that are really powerful in Kalahari but drop off when Purgatory comes along.
Yeah, a lot of the space within Purgatory to go ahead and cover in here. So the teams will most definitely want to spot out those vehicles early on just so that they can cover the amount of space. And, you know, if anything, it's all about going in there, doing your homework and spotting who has the best strategy and seeing if you can apply it for yourself. So far, the best strategy in Purgatory has been brought out by Eva Radicals, but they have got 2 vehicles, right? The first vehicle to scout out exactly who are those teams in front. The second vehicle just as their tail to make sure nobody gets a backstab on them. And they've got 2 players just running on foot constantly from compound to compound. And it has been more than enough for them to not only get into the final circle, but also to hunt down so many of these squads. But of course, we have seen the weakness of such an approach as well. Over aggressive teams do tend to bite the bullet a little bit faster. But on that note, Eva Radicals, once again, most definitely one of the teams that we have got our eyes on today.
Oh, definitely. And taking a look at who's right beside him, Goblin moves. Now, this team has been a little bit in a pickle because they can do really, really well, or they can just drop off just like that. And maybe that's why they're just into that 3rd spot, because they're not as consistent as the other teams. So Goblin Will is definitely a really strong start here, especially with Embolor just trying to go and, you know, be a good leader for his team. And now VPH Velocity as well. They had such an amazing run yesterday.
Yeah.
It was so impressive to see them actually really perform. But now that their strongest map, Kalahari, is off the table, Purgatory is going to be very forbidding for them because they don't really do well here. So this is a testament of how good a team is, knowing very well that they don't really perform.
Now, you know, even if they haven't done well in the past, it's all about, once again, you know, just not repeating the same mistakes, right? You make it once, it's a mistake. You make it twice, it's most definitely a choice. And teams like VPH Velocity, if there's one thing that they've gotten really, really well, it is improving step by step, match after match, you know, day after day in the league stages. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we say it once, we say it twice, we say it to you guys every single day. You can have the best of strategies, but without the right hardware, you can't really get to the top. On that note, Infinix Mobile is the official sponsor of the Free Fire Philippines Open. Fire up your game with Infinix's best-selling gaming smartphone, the Infinix Note 11S.
I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. The Infinix Note 11S is a powerful smartphone with a Helio G96 Ultra gaming processor. Fire up your game, get this now for only 9,990 pesos. Like, honestly, having this phone and really just performing well, like what you said, if you don't have a good cell phone, anyone else can be better than you just because you're lagging behind. So definitely this phone, get your hands on it, because when I come home from the Philippines, honestly, I'm gonna get this phone.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you know, the price point, the entry level for those who want to step into the world of games, be it as a pro player or a content creator, just has been lowered thanks to, you know, companies like Infinix Mobile. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, jumping right back into some of the execution of strategies out there on the battlefield. Going back to a little bit of what Eva Radicals have shown us yesterday, when they want to play for those placement points, they most definitely can. When they want to play aggressive for those skills, they most definitely could. But overall, it was Vete Esports that kind of showed us the true consistency that we always look for in these teams, Beef.
Oh yeah, definitely. And for them to just really perform at the very end and just surprise everyone, because it kind of was the opposite for Eva Radicals, right? They were performing really well in the beginning, having those back-to-back booyahs, but Vete Esports performing at the very end, and yes, even though they're not as strong in Kalahari, they still got a lot of those points and kills, and it was actually really good. I want to commend McRory. I mean, we always like give this guy so much love because of how good he is, and we saw that yesterday. Against Eva Radicals, they lost the gunfight. I think it was in Bermuda. But going into that, he was the only person left, but he still placed for his team, and that I want to see plays like that from this team.
I mean, you know, I would not expect any less from McRory. Quite honestly, he has set the bar super high for himself and the other players in the competition. If there is one guy that I most definitely look forward to seeing, you know, go into that battlefield and perform, it's most definitely McRory. Apart from him, we of course love to see Kanoho from AKO, Tanamo from Eva Radicals. These guys are, you know, just absolutely stacked players out there on the battlefield, and three of the best teams, I have to say, in the competition so far. But you know, out of those three, we also have got a fourth guy, Embalori, who kind of sits on the balance for Govilam Views. The one thing that Embalori does not bring into these fights, like what McRory, Tanamo, and Kanoho do, is the decision making. Embalori is really good mechanically, but the decision of constantly going in there for the rush and sometimes dropping really early in these engagements have kind of, you know, given that disservice to Govilam View speed.
Absolutely, and we already saw that yesterday where it was Embalori. If he goes down pretty early, that's when the team kind of struggles just a little bit. And we saw him against, I think it was Who Next in Bermuda, where he just made one small mistake trying to go in for those shots. But hopefully today, it's not going to be the same case, because hopefully learning from yesterday that you don't have to take those unnecessary shots and just position yourself well enough. But, you know, speaking of a team that has been doing a really good job, AKO Ligers, definitely such an impressive team. And ending the day yesterday in a high note, winning that map in Kalahari.
Oh yeah, 183 points so far in terms of placements. The second best team so far in terms of raking up those placement points. The one that are better than them is Vete Esports. AKO really knows how to play possum, right? Because just like Vete Esports, if anything, even worse than Vete Esports, because it was Eva Radicals first popping off, and then we saw the rise of Vete Esports, and throughout the whole clash between these two titans, AKO Ligers, they weren't really jumping into the fray just yet. They sat down on the second half of the leaderboards, and I believe that was around day 3 or day 4 where we saw the rise of AKO, and my oh my, what a run they were on, right? And they've maintained that consistency all throughout until now.
Yeah, and there's a reason why they're at that second spot. But right below them, 10 points, not really comfortable at all. We saw them perform yesterday really well. And, you know, Eva Radical is definitely a team that is so aggressive and can take a team like Vete off their feet. So right now, speaking of a team that has been, you know, performing pretty okay with one win yesterday, Trot WYS spots Tokyo right now. Plucky taking a lot of those shots, but it's a good thing that Tokyo's having that wall down. There you go. That's a really good spot here for Plucky.
Okay, Tokyo just needs to avoid this one grenade. He has done that already. Flocky has one more nade on him. Tokyo, he cuts the distance between himself as well as Flocky. Still climbing straight up onto the watchtower, very low on HP. He just made the biggest mistake now. Tokyo cooking up that nade, but he is going to get sprayed down. Can't even throw that grenade down before those two players snuff him out. I mean, I really liked what Blocky was doing in that situation. What his opponent was doing in that situation. The only one small mistake was not tossing that grenade in right after pulling out the glue wall. He already had a great position, but he just allowed himself to get overrun. 2-on-1 situation, clearly he wasn't going to be able to win that.
And not only did he not throw the grenade, but he also went to where his opponent was, pretty ballsy move, and without having any sort of backup. Where is everyone else from his team? It's just like they're missing from the map. He overpushed just a little bit. Not only that, he overchalled, and that is just something that you're not supposed to do in a tournament like this, where you only have 1 day left to go and perform. So again, I guess they're kind of confident that they're going to be staying into that 7th spot. But again, I guess that's showing very great confidence from the side of Trop WS.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And I kind of understand the ideation by who's next, because earlier on they wanted to move into golf course. It's just that they spotted Trot WYS going in towards the same spot as well, and therefore the rest of the Who's Next team, they diverted towards Mount Villa. But the problem was this guy, the one and only Tokyo, he kind of got caught out a little bit earlier because, I don't know, miscomm or whatsoever. He jumped out of that initial flight a few seconds too early, right? And he had to just drop in there. Unfortunate, but once again, he had enough loot to turn that situation around, to get himself at least 1 kill, to kind of just put himself even with Trot WYS, give it the most before he gets taken out. So, you know, that was just a little bit of a terrible decision-making coming through from him, but it's just the first match in here. And on top of that, Who's Next surprisingly dropping into this game with only 3 players. So from the get-go, they were on a handicap.
And that's why I was surprised why he pushed there all alone, knowing very well that the numbers game is not going to be, it's not going to be in their favor because everyone else would have a force stack. But speaking of force stack, that can definitely destroy everyone. Taking a look at right now, Daymoon giving some shots right now. It's going to be very hard because Black Angel's already in a little bit of a pickle as we see us taking a lot of these shots. And it's basically just 2 versus 1 right now as one more member going away, not giving any kind of help.
Daymoon just makes that look way too easy, man. I mean, if you are actually playing the game, you go in there. What Daymoon just did, the scope in and out, it just helps you control your recall. As a matter of fact, helps you have 0 recall throughout that whole time he was sending all of those shots down to go in and pressure. The guy had got no time to go in there and play his glue walls, nor his medkit. Took him down way too easy, and that's exactly how good Vete Esports is mechanically within this matchup. And Black Angel, on the other hand, we know they struggle mechanically a little bit.
Yeah, it really was kind of hard to see because, yes, they were stuck there. The advantage wasn't the side of Vete with the, height advantage. But if you really just ran away, I'm not quite sure because we didn't really see the perspective of the Bloody Angels. With the Black Angels. And we didn't know if they had more glue walls. So that one possibly was the only glue wall that they had. And probably if they went away, just pray because there's no cover whatsoever. And that's why it's so hard to perform in this map because there's barely any cover. And that's why, like what you said a while ago, get a vehicle. And if you get spotted, just try to hide.
And you also need to be one with nature. You need to look for those tree trunks. You need to hide behind the trees. And I believe he did have a tree trunk right beside him. Just, pulling off that timing way off. And I kind of didn't understand the decision making coming through from there, because the one thing that you really want to do is just play your distance from your opponents, use the terrain to your advantage, and not pull out the glue walls, especially if you're already, low on the glue walls very early up in these matches, right? And you only want to use it if you have 0 chances of getting away from your opponents. And in that situation, it was an absolute waste. But at the very least, it pulled away the attention, and Vete Esports only got 1 kill as the rest of those Black Angel players backed away from that situation. Ego Oblivions, on the other hand, might not be able to get away from a hunting squad. Here comes Eva Radicals, and I believe Barba is going to be able to spot my son in a couple of seconds right in front of him just by the docks. And it looks like those players of Ego Oblivion just breaking up now. AimJ almost knocked down onto the ground, but they are playing a buddy system, thankfully. And Ego Oblivions, even if AimJ gets super aggressive here, Barba, look at him, the long flame coming through now from that bridge. They are going to be able to get these knocks, but the pickup is going to be possible. Unless if AimJ aims, and he does have that long-range engagement, he gets the knock on Barba, Ego Oblivions can change the look of game number 1.
Yeah, I feel like Ego Oblivions is a really good spot because everyone else is spread out. Barba going in there, trying to go in for the shots, but Maisan, it was unfortunate. He was actually in a really good spot a while ago because the boys of Eva Radicals didn't really know where he was, and unfortunately Maisan does go down. And I feel like with the fall of Maisan, I feel like for Ego Radicals, they should just go away because they're not going to win this gunfight against a team like Eva Radicals because they had such a good spread, but showing your position and trying to go under the bridge is definitely not a really good idea.
And, it's just no other way Ego Oblivions can pull this, right? They were already scattered in the first place, all broken apart, and it was just about time. Now, the two players that are left here, they are playing that buddy system. But in terms of my son, as well as his colleague that kind of got taken out earlier, they went in there for the split, something that was totally unnecessary, right? Vete Esports continues their shutdown on the rest of the players from Black Angel. A good time turner pulled out, and that will give them a few extra seconds. Siasi Gradient, the timing on that grenade. McRory, perfect as usual. Gradient now, the only player left in here. Let's go, trying to get past that blue wall. Will be able to do exactly that. Gradient now on the ground. And Black Angel, I believe they've got one final player left in the mix. Kanoho from afar. Here comes AKO for the shutdown now.
Here we go, third party by the Ligers, and this is what we like to see, and they perform so well with this, and just like that, Vete just might be able to find their own bullets just because of how well Ligers will perform here. McRory goes down, Let's Go finally going in there for the first aid, but you can see they're actually pretty... Honestly, they're doing so well right now, even though that they're stuck into that platform, into a higher position, they still got away.
Yeah, it's all because of 4bits. He's just playing the pressure from afar. Now, Cheer's going to keep 4bits very busy. This is a smart play coming through from AKO. Now, once you pull away 4bits and all of his attention, the players who are inside of that watchtower, they will be in a lot of trouble. A couple of nades can finish them off. McRory, 4bits now. Sends one towards Cheers. Cheers closes the distance. Oh, my Lord, 4bits! He had the shotgun. Cheers didn't see that coming.
It's all just 4bits, and he's the reason why everyone else from VD is actually alive. But then McRory Daymoon already going down 4bits. It's you again. It's only you can actually go and have that. Let's go, though. It's a good thing that he was there. Going in for the pickup from Daymoon, McRory as well. VD's taking a lot of beating right now from AKO Lighters, but then unfortunately for the team that tried to go in there for the third party, it didn't really work out very well. But speaking of a team that has been really blazing it through into the very first half of the game, Eva Radicals going in there up against the two final members being backed up in a corner. This is a place where you do not want to be in.
Fura now just cutting all of these angles, but unfortunately for him, all of his angles are absolutely horrendous. He gets two of those nades bounced off in an angle that he did not expect, and now trying to cut away the rest of those players. AKO versus Vete Esports. That was a crazy showdown, and 4bits, the man, kind of holding down the whole of the squad, making sure they don't get shut down by AKO. And Vete Esports, they should be able to run away with this matchup in a little bit as we now pull away. Vete Esports approaching New Gen from the right-hand side. The players of New Gen, on the other hand, keeping their eyes on Trot WYS, absolutely unaware of the danger that is approaching.
Oh, New Gen, unfortunately for them, they're just going to be stuck here. As you see, Vete already on a rampage early on. They already have 6 kills already in the first half of the game, and they have so much kills. And 4bits goes down. They already know this guy definitely performs, but his teammates can definitely help him out as well. Now, New Gen still alive, surprisingly, and it's a good response to what Vete has been applying to them, and that's their pressure. They've been really on a rampage, but at the same time, I'm not quite sure if they should keep doing this, because at the very end of the game, they might lose 1 or 2 members.
Yeah, I mean, the first things here is when 4bits got knocked down, what was the response from the rest of the players from Vete Esports? Not continue picking up kills, not continue applying that pressure, but immediately back down, and everybody is there for the rescue on 4bits. If one guy is picking him up, the rest of them are keeping watch, making sure nobody comes in here for the kill, because that's exactly what Vete Esports understands, right? Getting into that final circle with the numbers. And now they have got the close proximity held on with New Gen. Afar, you've got Who's Next as well. Vete Esports, if they play this smart, they will be able to pick up 6 more kill points before getting into the next zone, and none of the other teams will be in here to kind of stick their noses in where they don't belong. So it's all about who now starts this fight.
Well, taking a look at that, there's still 11 teams left in the mix, but then there you go, Reagan! Oh no! Gets 2 of the members, but then you see here Vete finally getting a slice of their own to see from a team like UGen. You don't really give this team enough credit here, AJ. They did such an amazing job shutting down Beite Esports so early on in the matchup.
Oh, amen. I mean, this team has most definitely been on an upward trajectory. It's just a little late in the competition to be catching up to that 12th spot. But you know, anything can happen on this final day. And NewGen doing exactly that. Great decision-making coming through and great nades back-to-back, catching Beite Esports off guard. And Beite Esports, they already got into 2 of those big gunfights earlier on, especially against AKO. A lot of their utilities had already been used up. And going in for that aggressive push onto NewGen just clearly was not the best of ideas. They pull back, but they didn't hold that perfect defense, right? Yes, they managed to pull out those glue walls, but the rush coming through from NewGen, once again, great decision making back to back from the players who are, you know, at the moment, bottom feeders in the competition. What more can NewGen bring out here in the final day, Beef? Hopefully, they can show us back to back.
I feel like they heard us a while ago, man, yesterday, where we basically made the bet. But you know what? They're performing one. Oh no, that's so unfortunate. See, AJ gets taken down by the zone. He was just a little bit too late. Pepper's going to be in a little bit of pickle as well. It's all up to Jacob, and he's too far away from his teammate. And unfortunately for them, there's one team, Eva Radicals, right there trying to knock on his door, and one more member from AKO Ligers to try and make a difference. That's going to be very difficult for them, because as long as they were sticking together and going into the zone very early, they wouldn't have this problem. But unfortunately for them, they tried to get rid of Black Angels, and there you go. Eagle Oblivion eliminated already, and that's supposed to be a team that could have been inside the zone already if they made it into a position.
Yeah, AKO, they don't really have the numbers on them. Finally, that player making it into the next zone. Eva Radicals between AKO as well as players from WYS. NewGen still alive and kicking 6 kills in here so far. Govilum Views behind them. VDR right in front. Everybody wants to take this fight first, but as NewGen is so focused on those players of the Vindicators, they have not spotted Govilum Views. Finally, Huinda turns around. Huinda has got the grenade launcher in hand as well, but cannot aggress on. Bloodyhead Mark from the back will focus in on taking the Vindicators out. So as NewGen focuses on Views, they will not be disturbed. This is the perfect part of the game for NewGen to continue picking up these aggressive kills. But look at this, right? If Govilum Views, they cut the distance, a couple of nades into the watchtower, you know that's a GG.
We need one member from NewGen to just step out of the tower, because we already know that it just takes one person, one grenade to take them out. And, you know, we need to see a play like Beatty a while ago where Morbid was just outside, giving a lot of pressure into the team that was attacking them, which was AKO Ligers. But now we see here finally Wills going in there, trying to go into the circle, but at the same time trying to get rid of NewGen as well.
NewGen amazing with the movement so far, managing to abandon that watchtower, jumping away, getting in towards the next zone, just gatekeeping Govilum Views at the very same time. WYS shut down by Eva Radicals, and Balore now, the nade will be able to find Smiley, and the other one deletes 2 players at the same time. Mikey now for the side of NewGen, trying to take on the whole of Govilum Views all on his own, while a few more nades come flying in. At the same time, Mark from the back helps him out as well. Wiz now down on the ground, another nade, great glue wall pulled out by Mikey, survived for a couple of more seconds, but Bloodyhead behind him, Govilum Views right in front. What will Mikey do now?
It's going to be very difficult because he only has just a few HP left. Not only that, he has 0 utility right now. And with just 2 more glue walls, it needs to be absolutely precise where he wants to go. It's a good thing that Wills, they're just, you know, wanting to go into the zone, so that's good. They're basically not taking any chances of being eliminated. And now, it's all up to Mikey if he can try to get more placement points for his team. And hopefully, you know what, just as I said that, he gets taken out. I was really hoping that guy can go clutch up a little bit more points.
Ooh, Bloodyhead just dealing so much of damage from the back. Mark now whiz down on the ground. Mark solo from the side of Bloodyhead, taking out Govilum Views. And now they focus in on Eva Radicals at the very bottom. Jaboiwa gets Fura. Mark will get Jaboiwa. AKO taken out as well. And it is none other than Govilum Views. Bloodyhead, my apologies, who secure the booyah for themselves.
We didn't even see Bloodyhead much in this round. And it's just really amazing to see that they finally get another booyah into their back pocket. And now, we already know Bloodyhead having 3 wins already, getting another one, which is going to be 4. So, I wish we get to see like more of their performance into that, and I'm pretty sure in the highlights we'll get to see that. But we always saw AKO Ligers, we always saw
Yeah.
Wills, but at the very end with those 5 seconds of fame, we saw Bloody Heads absolutely shine.
Yeah, quite honestly, as we were looking at the kill feed, we just saw Mark hitting those kills. I'm just wondering how many did he manage to bag all the way to the end, right? Crazy stuff coming out of the guy. And Bloodyhead securing a very important booyah for themselves, because from here on end, it's not about the pride, it's just for a little bit of extra pocket money before they move on to the grand finals beef.
Oh yeah, and you mentioned Mark. I love the guy because he is so great with the sniper, even as great as Mbalore when it comes to those long distance shots. So I feel like that's the reason why they really performed well here. And like what you said, you saw in the kill feed, it was all just Mark getting a lot of these kills. And him with the sniper in a map like Purgatory, where you're gonna have a lot of long range engagements, that's why they probably got into this first booyah, which was so important for them. And this is the momentum that they need going through the rest of the day.
Absolutely, right? And not a lot of those vehicles brought into play this time round, but it was more of those distance, those ranged engagements that kind of got Bloody Heads a lot of those points. Mark chipping in, but we saw a little bit of the aggressive side of Waytay Esports. You said it, it most definitely happened out there on the battlefield, where as they got so aggressive looking for these kills, they eventually got punished.
Definitely. And I know that they probably are comfortable into that #1 spot, but if you just play around for too long, you have a team like AV Ligers, you have a team like Eva Radicals that can just sneak up on you and get that #1 spot. And yes, maybe they're probably not playing as seriously because they're comfortable there, but it's a matter of money too. Like if you are into that top spot, you have 75K, and now you're going to be moving down. That's a lot of money lost just for having fun into the first few rounds and not taking it seriously.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. There's 25,000 pesos of difference between the first spot and the second spot and the third, right? And obviously each and every single one of these teams, they want to bag the most before getting into the grand finals. It's most definitely a great confidence boost. And Waytay Esports, they thought that the best strategy that they can pull off this time around would be a full-on aggressive one. But I'm just surprised that they went in there for that strat, right? Because we were just talking about it at the start of the show. The most solid strategy shown so far has been through Waytay Esports, not the ones that Eva Radicals have been showing us. Eva Radicals always are super aggressive at the start, and they kind of flunk out a little bit too early. Waytay Esports used to play possum until they had eyes on that final zone, and that's exactly when they showed everyone else who's boss of the battlefield. And, I don't see a need to change that strat up.
Yeah, I feel like at this moment they're just trying to see which works out for them strat-wise, because they know that they're good at playing it safe into the first half of the match and then eventually getting a lot of those skills, positioning themselves. And they actually did a really good job going up against AKO Ligers, taking down majority of those members. But, it just faltered when they tried to do the same thing to the third team, which New Gen was. But they definitely performed, and I was really impressed that actually happened.
And New Gen with the opportunity to take down Waytay Esports. It's not like they spotted Waytay Esports and told themselves, okay, this is us, let's go make a name for ourselves. Absolutely not. They were stuck in a position where Waytay Esports knocked on their door, and we were talking about who's going to make the first move. And it was the great grenade opener that was played on Waytay Esports. It's Waytay Esports that usually plays that, right? But McRory this time around, he didn't have enough grenades on him, and the lack of decision-making from the get-go just allowed the side of New Gen. I mean, come on, we've been talking about the consistent approach of New Gen, clunking up all of these points. Now, consistency, they hit 12 points yet again. They equalized with Eva Radicals. That's just so impressive for New Gen, but I just wish we could have seen this side of them a little bit earlier in the competition beat.
Yeah, you're definitely right, but I really hope that this is enough for them to just project themselves into the 12th spot. But let's give credit when credit is due. Bloody Head, even though we didn't get to see him as much here, they definitely deserve that 22. Look at that, 10 kill points. That is the most out of everyone here. AKO Ligers, obviously, even though they only had one player left, was able to kind of finesse himself going to the final circle and even having those 9 placement points.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And of course, we catch up with the fifth spot. Go Willem Views picking that up. 7 with the placement points, 4 kills in total, 11 overall. Vete Esports can only secure the sixth position for themselves this time around. All of those points came only through those kills, no placement points. And that's something that they most definitely will be disappointed with. And the adjustments obviously can be made. You know exactly how Vete Esports is mechanically, and most of their strategy is executed to perfection out there on the battlefield. And the disparity of points between themselves as well as AKO can allow them to have one soft round, and it's nothing for them to jump right back up, right? So we've got our eyes on them. Let's look at Trot WYS on the other hand. 5 placement points, only 1 kill this time round. They need to do a little bit better. They want to make sure they not only catch up with the 12th spot, but run through the clear, right? Because at the moment they sit in the 13th place. Ego Oblivions in the 8th spot, followed by Vindicators, who's next, as well as Black Angel. Black Angel, just like Trot WYS, a lot to hustle for in here. But you can't be bagging out on these rounds so early, Beef.
You're absolutely right. You can see teams such as Vete Esports yesterday not having the best day, but at the very end, finally finding their footing. So again, all of these teams that try to go into that 12th spot, because I feel like this is the most important conversation that we'll have today. Who is going to make it into that 12th spot, 11, 12? Because for now, we're not sure what's going to happen. And that is the beauty of this game, because anything can happen at any moment. Someone can just pop off, or we can be disappointed at the very end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I don't want to be disappointed as we look at, okay, you know what, Beef? Let's talk about that one favorite team that you have who's currently not in the top 12, right? We had Trot WYS, Monkey Tribe, Black Angel, New Gen. Out of these 4, who do you think is most capable of climbing into the top 12? I mean, AV Crusaders is sitting down there as well, but I think the disparity in points is just a little too much to ask for.
Okay, I really want Monkey Tribe to stay in there because they showed us that they want to take it to the skies, but they just take there a little bit too long. But this team definitely has really, I think I mentioned it yesterday as well, they get their eyes, and usually they're at a really good spot. Their positioning is really good. It's just the mechanical skills that they have that they just need to work on. So definitely Monkey Tribe has one booyah, and I'm pretty sure they can probably take one if they really play it right.
I actually agree with you, right? Because my initial pick would have been Black Angel, but if we think about the probability, Monkey Tribe just excels slightly better compared to Black Angel in the department of getting kills, like you said, the mechanical capabilities of taking some of these engagements, right? And their positioning is quite solid as well, but the decision making is where they kind of lag behind some of these teams, not moving away from some of these prime spots that they manage to get. So they get a really good position and then they just hold on to it a little bit too long, and that has cost them quite a number of rounds. And let's see if or not the Monkey Tribe will be able to climb up slowly but surely. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have to keep our eyes out for them later on, as Group C will join the fray from match number 3 onwards. As we head into Bermuda for game number 2, let's see exactly how Group A does before they rest for match number 5.
Now, this is a map that we really want to see perform from the side of Monkey Tribe because they did have one booyah here, so we'll get to see them later on. And now we're taking a look at all of the teams that have performed very well here in Bermuda. Now, this is a map that Vete Esports loves. They have, I think, 4 wins here, and that is going to be very impressive. They always stay into Shipyard. So that is a big whoever wants to stay with them or who wants to challenge it. But it feels like Eva Radicals is going to be one of those teams that can try to push them out.
That's a huge coming for us very, very early on in the competition. Go Willem Views back in a way. Trot WYS can play with Black Angel for a little bit, but I'm most curious about what's happening to Eva Radicals and Vete Esports off screen. This engagement very early on, Siasi needs to find a gun, finally does. Trot WYS, Tadamo! Let's go! Yes, they're taken out already. Yeah, Vete Esports, they are stuck, Beef.
I mean, this is what we like to see. I mentioned it before, where if there's a team that basically goes down with Vete wherever they land into the first part, you can try to gatekeep them because they don't usually, attack into, they don't do aggressive plays into the first half of the game. You usually see it after, but now you get to see a team that does very well in the first half of the game. That is going to be Eva Radicals, but with Tanamo going down a little bit early on, hopefully his teammates can go and pick up and find finally they do, and they just want to do a little bit of damage here. Oh no, McCrory goes in for a bunch of shots. Agila down, Fjordur almost getting down as well, and this is so unfortunate to see.
This is why you do not touch Vete Esports early on. Eva Radicals thinking that they can get a jump on them. Yes, they did. Thanamo with not even the first... he got the first knock immediately with the first execution, but right after that, they pay a high price. And now Eva Radicals, they will bail from this situation. Trot WYS with Blocky down on the ground. Not going to be an issue as General is there for the save. Shanks just holding down Siasi, making sure he does not aggress on fourth to take the kill. And Trot WYS, they will be right back up in here with 4 players. Black Angel, great pressure so far. They have got the flank with CRC. Let's see how they pull this off.
And here we go, a full stack going up against a team that has probably holes into their team right now. That's not going to be very easy for Black Angels to go in, knowing very well that Trot WIS can definitely mechanically outgun them. So Shanks applying that pressure from this team. I feel like the one person that's a little bit too far away is going to be and if one person, and it's probably going to be Chiasi, that can probably go down early, they'll have a hard time because he's going in for the flank and it's not going to work out because it's going to be a 2v1 situation for them.
Yeah, Govilum Views very cheeky. They left this 3-way fight earlier on, continued their loots, came right back in when they were ready. And now all they need to do is just get into position and wait for those gunshots. In fact, if they do get a jump onto Black Angel, it just will seem to be a situation where Black Angel's in a GG spot because they can't run away. For Chinook, it's got a small compound and then just open areas all around. When those players step right out, you know it's going to be firepower from both sides as they get sandwiched. Who's next on the other hand? Taking on Bloody Head. Arfar! Down on the ground, Embalore with the first shots in there, and nobody will be able to get the save if Embalore can hold on to this angle, gets into a better situation for himself. Gradient tries to catch him. Embalore gets right in there with the time turner, just mows him down.
And here we go, Arf is gonna be spotted real quick. Embalore finishes it finally, and amazing timing from Wills to go in there. Third party, this is probably the best team, apart from VPH Velocity, that always delivers into that third party infiltration. And now we get to see WYS, that one person, still try to go up against Wills because they have no choice but to go and engage.
Well, and Views now hits Trot WYS as well. Navi and Shanks down on the ground. And General, the one and only final player inside of the time turner with the shotgun. A lot of firepower. DPS is on his side. He drops the beat as well. But Wiz drops him 6 feet under instead. Govilum Views, 6 kills so far. And New Gen might want to come in and play a little bit.
He's just gathering some information. He's the only person here. And finally, the rest of his team going in there tries to get a little bit of the pie as well. But having Wills absolutely pop off there, they can definitely deliver. And not only that, they probably have the weaponry to do so as well. And now, Wiz having 3, leading the pack. You get to see how much of a IQ player this guy is. Because yes, even though we have Embalore that goes in there, Wiz always going in there. She's so good into trying to figure out what's the best angle, what's the best support I can give to my team. But now we are taking a look at another team that's been just doing such an amazing job here so far. That is going to be Ego Oblivions. And yes, they are kind of in a tough spot because it's not comfortable at all going into that top 12. They've been doing a really good job at applying that pressure to basically a very hard matchup going up against Group A. That is not easy at all. And they finally put the nail in the coffin. Black Angels eliminated so early on. And I'm honestly surprised there's just 9 teams left here.
Yeah, and let's see if Govilum Views can get up to the 10 kill point streak before we get in towards the next zone. New Gen, a team that has most definitely been on the uprise recently, but can they hold their own against a full squad of Govilum Views? All of the utilities on the side of Govilum Views replenished after they go in there and loot, but they have to play this really carefully as well. No idea what sort of positions the rest of New Gen holds onto. All of the players of Views gathering beside each other. The shots now finally starts off. The beat gets dropped as well as they get the boost in speed to back away from that compound ever so slowly. Are they trying to sucker New Gen in?
And now we know New Gen did such an amazing job going up against Beta Esports, so they're very much capable in doing so against Wheels. But Wheels doing a very smart job of just backing away just ever so slightly. New Gen doesn't really know what is happening, and it's a good thing that Wheels is pretty much aware that they have enough cover against New Gen just to go away, maybe just to reposition themselves a little bit better against New Gen. And now we're taking a look at the Vindicators. Just one person, Cyborg, trying to go in there, trying to lead his team, but everyone else going up against basically two teams that will possibly sandwich them. But I feel like Cyborg is just a little bit too far away. And there you go, just as I said it, everyone else from his team probably can't give him a lot of support because of how well they've been going there, just the three of them. And not only that, who's next is just right around the corner.
Yeah, you can't do that. You know, if you're Cyborg, I mean, there's no reason whatsoever to break away from the rest of your team members unless you've got a vehicle looking for information, something like what we just saw the players of New Gen get. Once they got that information, then the rest of those team members came in there for the fight. Out in the open, Cyborg, although he does have, you know, the ability to engage long distance, GG, bro. At the very least, Beef, they could have depended on the buddy system, which very clearly have served so many of these teams a lot of good.
That's true. I mean, just because you go down, right, you have someone to go in there for the pickup. And for Cyborg to overextend like that, really, it's just a matter of time before he gets taken down. And really, it's not just the fact that his teammates were far away from him, but they were on the bridge. And once you have a team that can actually meet you from there, which is going to be who's next applying that pressure, they get stuck in between that.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a really good play from who's next applying that pressure. But obviously, they didn't know that Cyborg was that far away. So again, taking a look at what we have right now as the zone is closing in, Beta Esports having just one man down. Lesgo is definitely a person that performs really well, so hopefully they know how to adjust, knowing very well they only have 3 players left.
Bloody head as they try to get in towards the next zone from Mill. Will not be coming across any players as of this moment. And when they do spot them, as usual, you know Mark will be the prime suspect to get geared in there for those early shots. The range engagement is exactly what he's known for and exactly what he's just so solid at, right? And just with all of that ability, he's been able to put Bloody Head in front, but that was towards the start of the competition. And since then, Bloody Head, they've just been maintaining their position in the top 10 ranking. They have been slowly on the decline, but, you know, not too far away from where they truly want to be. But if they want to be able to secure the top 3 spots, it's a tough fight, right? Because you've got VPH Velocity in front of them, and that's all right to be managed, but Go Willem Views just too far away, about 60 points beyond Bloody Head at the moment.
And taking a look at what we have here, the map is so interesting to see because we have one team so far away from the circle. We got Eva Radicals, Tanamo and Barba, and we already know that these two can definitely perform, but the fact that they're just trying to loot and probably surprise us at the very end, I'm excited to see that once we finally get to see those two just try to pick up all of the scrap points that they can actually go and get. And now, AKO, a really strong team that ended day number 7 with a bang, can definitely perform. If Kanoho can get a lot of kills as well, because he's been the most MVPs, like what you said.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a reason why he's that talented, and everyone else from his team plays around him. So hopefully he does perform and everyone else from his team can pick up a lot of points because of him.
Yeah, AKO, they better perform right now, right? Because once we have Group C come in here, because, you know, even though they ended it with a bang, even though they grabbed the Booyah, let's not forget who stole that #1 spot away. VPH Velocity are on a rise as well, and they kind of gained that momentum early on in match number 4. They secured that #1 spot without the Booyah, and they repeated it in game number 6. If there's one thing about VPH Velocity, they are on a trajectory of a kill spree. And so AKO, they just need to be able to find all of this without VPH popping off, because that's going to be crazy as Group A takes on Group C in match 5 and 6 later on.
Ooh, taking a look at this Vindicator and Newgen. Looks like there's going to be a little bit of an engagement. There goes Gio goes down. I knew he was going to go down because of how well Newgen was positioned, and he had his back turned away. I'm not quite sure. Did he see that there were a lot of members from Newgen there? Because he just backed away without even having to look at there. And you know what? Just like that, there's just 2 members left from the Vindicators. Newgen looking like they're such an awesome team at the moment. So solid.
Oh, absolutely right. With the positioning, and now they've secured that 1 kill already, hunting for another player off the side of Vindicators. And look at the sports car going there for the chase. Winda, as usual, if he does manage to get the jump onto Unknown, he will be able to handle the situation all on his own with the double vectors. So Unknown just needs to back away, but Winda gets the information that both of those players, Eklog as well as Unknown, they have managed to find a compound for themselves. So the flank comes through from Reagan and squad. This is Newgen for the shutdown.
And here we go, Hyunda. Big shots already, information already given, but unfortunately for him, goes down. And this is a play that worked out a while ago. He was just gathering information, but unfortunately had to go down from the motorcycle and pays the price. But it's up to his team if they can go in there, get a lot of these shots. Finally, Vindicators eliminated.
Ooh.
So I feel like it was I think it was worth it, right?
Yeah.
Hyunda could have probably handled that situation a little bit better, but it's a good thing that his team wasn't too far away and was able to get rid of everyone else from the Vindicators. So I feel like this is probably one of the best plays that we've seen here from the side of Newgen, gathering that information against Wills, backing away, and really just positioning themselves and really getting a lot of these kills here so far. But with Hyunda going down, the information is not going to come through anymore, because at this point, having 3 members in your team is definitely going to change your gameplay.
Eva Radicals finally deciding to join the rest of the squads inside of the safe zone. I wonder if their little expedition outside has served them really well in terms of those utilities. Clearly, they've got a vehicle on them, just zooming straight towards the rest of the players of Weite Esports. What will fate have in store for Thanamo and squad, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? I have to say duo, just 2 of these players left alive and kicking. Weite Esports does not fire against them, and Eva Radicals will be able to survive the battle in towards the next zone, but they do have eyes on goal. Willem views the boy, wow, with a long shot and the kill. Santino taken down.
Oh, that's going to be unfortunate, but you can see here McRory very stacked. A lot of grenades and a lot of glue walls as well. So, Vete, if they choose to do so, they can definitely take on a team like Wills, but Wills backing away from the situation. And now this is what we like to see from Wills. They're backing away at the best moments, and that's the reason why they're still pretty much a threat into this competition. Right now, Newgen, having just 3 members of their team, tries to go up against 2 of the Eva Radical members, but you already know the Eva Radicals can definitely outgun them, but Newgen is definitely a different team that we've seen here. A little bit more critical and also a little bit more better when it comes to the mechanical skills.
Oh, now this is just an unfortunate situation as Newgen tries to back away. We did see the fact that they had a lot of glue walls on their side, but now they have to go for a swim as well. Bloody Head getting caught, and thankfully they will be able to use the terrain to their advantage. But what a nade coming in here from Kanoho! Ooh, gets the bounce, and he will not pressure the other players, but Dobie has the information. Tosses out one rail quick. Mark gets caught. Dobie from the back, and now he will go in there for the shutdown. Cry Fu right in front, but it doesn't matter. It's just that one final player on the side of Bloody Head that needs to step out of that side anyway because of the pressure that's being played by the zombie.
And there you go. AKO Liger is doing such an amazing job. Shares goes down though. Kanoho gets some shots, but also regens very, very quickly. Tobies gets that quadrikill, and finally Bloody Heads just having a little bit of a hard time here just because of how well AKO Ligers is positioned. But then there you go. AVA, oh my gosh. Ava Radicals already going down. Animal, it was good, but not good enough for you because of how much pressure they were being dealt with, not only by Newgen, but also for AKO Ligers as well. And now we got a full squad still here, and not only that, they have pretty good positioning going into that next circle.
And AKO just doing exactly what AKO does best, absolutely shutting down all of their opponents. Toby with 5 kills so far. Guys on fire. Embalori with a long-range shot. Weite Esports being pressured right now, but Govilam Views need to focus on themselves to make the play in towards the next zone and then play gatekeepers. Weite Esports from the back end. Govilam Views tries to get in. Bloody Head eliminated by the final shot of Kanoho. My son under a lot of pressure, but Ego Oblivions have managed to get in towards the final next zone. Embalori from afar. Pressure onto 4-bits. Can he get the kill as well? The players right in front. Embalori needs to find a placement to play defensive, but the flank being pulled through by Weite Esports. Daymoon right in front with the double vectors, and Embalori with just the melee in hand hasn't pulled his gun out just yet and does not play the timing right. Gets shut down.
Beta Esports, a really good push here so far. It doesn't really matter that they're only just 2 people left. Newgen already eliminated. Ego, that is going to be very big on them. Ego Oblivion's definitely doing such an amazing job, and Newgen unfortunately goes down here. But still, pretty good placement so far. And so far, it's going to be Ego Oblivion's going up against a lot of these other teams, just trying to gatekeep them. As we see AKO Ligers going up against Beta Esports.
Yeah, AKO Ligers trying to catch up with the #1 spot, and they shut down Vayday Esports to do exactly that. And now in front of them, Ego Oblivion, a team that has most definitely stepped it up in their own accord, but against the one and only AKO Ligers, will they be able to keep up mechanically? This is that final fight, and the height advantage is held by the players of AKO, but the final zone is held on by the players of Ego Oblivions.
And that is such a good spot right now for AKO to try and get, because as long as they're pushing and also applying that pressure, they are probably going to win this gunfight because they do have the advantage of being up in that hill. But you can see here, with the right type of equipment, you can definitely go and shoot for the kill. But then Pepper AJ going down as well. It's all up to Jacob to try and go and make a difference up against a full squad of AKO members.
Yeah, he has got a grenade launcher, but unfortunately as he steps out, AKO find their crosshairs, they find their aim, and Toby with the most number of kills picks up the MVP as AKO Ligers maintain consistency. First game 13 points, and they secure the booyah and that #1 spot for their second match.
Ooh, Vayday Esports should probably be a little bit careful here because slowly but surely AKO Ligers being very consistent with all their kills. And not only that, let me give some praise to Ego Oblivion. They had 5 points a while ago, and they got a lot of points today as well in this matchup. And now they're going to be sitting there. They're going to be a little bit pretty, just waiting into the next matchup. But if they keep this ball rolling, they're probably going to be going up a notch because they're at the 10th spot at the moment. And that's not a comfortable place to be at. So for Ego to just get a lot of these points in the last 2 rounds, that is very impressive for them.
And I really like how Gobilam Views is playing these matches, right? Not getting over aggressive, not making the kind of mistakes that teams like Eva Radicals and Vayday themselves have made in that match #1. A great recovery for game #2, but it just wasn't good enough as AKO themselves managed to shut them down. But the bad part here is the players of Vayday Esports still manage to play their placements really well. So it is going to be quite the fight, quite the travel, quite the journey for AKO to catch up to that #1 spot. But 25,000 pesos is quite good motivation, right, Beef?
It's pretty good motivation to just get to that #1 spot. But you know what? I guess the only way that AKO Ligers can actually go and win this is for Vayday Esports to not perform that well. Because in round #1, they got 6 points, and here they got a lot of points as well. So for AKO Ligers, and yes, they got more points, but they're also going up a notch just a little bit. So for a team like AKO Ligers, I feel like they're going to keep doing better and better and just hopefully get into that top spot.
Absolutely. New gen, and we kind of saw their trajectory, the decision making so much more sound this time round. And it's something that we kind of emphasized at the start of the competition, where some of the bottom feeders of the competition, they just needed to focus on one thing instead of winning, instead of continuously rising up the leaderboard, to really perfect their gameplay in here, right? Because it's not a quick sprint within one competition. It is a marathon across all of the events that Garena Free Fire brings in throughout the whole year of esports for themselves. And if you can improve step by step in a competition like this, you can most definitely look forward to a great future, right? Because for New Gen, it is that bout of improvement that we've seen in here, and hopefully they can continue working on it off the competition, and the next time we spot them, be able to show us what Bloodyhead have been able to show us so far. I mean, the amount of improvement that we've seen is just mind-blowing.
You're right, and New Gen going up against Vayday Esports in the last matchup, getting rid of that team, and also getting rid of the Vindicators, who's also at the 9th spot. That is a really good team, and I feel like it was such a drastic change from what we saw yesterday as well. They're picking their gunfights. They have that information in the form of Hyunda to just get and go around with the motorcycle, get that information, go back and reposition themselves. So again, that is just a team that has been learning in the last few weeks, and definitely a form formula for greatness.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. Because clearly they saw Eva Radicals use that. They saw Aguila using that strategy with the vehicle, getting all of that information, and Winda just plays that to perfection. And although it gets them, they kind of learned the hard way as well. Remember, Winda kind of got shut down a little bit too early in this round because, you know, you have to learn exactly where that line of getting information ends, right? After you get that information, you have to back away. You cannot be taking the 2-on-1 situation just like that, like audaciously. And that's the main reason why they lost Winda early on in that round. That was an unnecessary aggressive move from him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it won't work out for them because they don't have any other kind of cover. And for Hyota to go down so early was detrimental to them because their information gather is not there anymore. So it changed all of their gameplay, and it didn't work out for them at the very end. But still, very much appreciated and very impressive. But speaking of an impressive run, Vete Esports, even though they were down one person, it didn't matter for them because they still performed very well into the very end. They still bagged the top 3 spot, going up against full stack and really just getting rid of Wills. Imagine that. That's a 4v3 situation, and that is just far away. And that's why it's still such a formidable team to go up against.
And even though the players of Ego Oblivions, they had the final circle, the one thing they did not have on their side was the utilities, right? We saw the grenade launcher. It couldn't be used because he didn't really have many of those pumps left on him. Not a lot of glue walls as well. And AKO Ligers just aggressing on them, finding out that, okay, they're not going to take the aggressive approach. We go in there, and they got that shutdown. 14 kill rampage they go on in this round number 2 with 12 of those placement points from the Booyah, totaling up to 26 points. They have got a total of 39 points just from 2 games so far. AKO Ligers most definitely on a trajectory to take that number 1 spot away. But like we said earlier on, Vete Esports making sure they keep up with the rest of the pack so that they don't really fall back too far, right? Second and third spot to Vete Esports and Ego Oblivions as they both get 13 points apiece. Govin Views in the 4th place with 12 points. New Gen, my oh my. And you know, once again, Beef, the biggest disappointment here is we see them rising, but we see them rising just a little bit too late. But can they get the impossible done from that second last position all the way into the top 12? Because they are on a great smooth run here.
It's such a slow rise up that makes me so nervous because I'm just, okay, I don't know if it's enough because they're doing a really good job, so that's a really good thing. But the best thing is everyone else that's also kind of in the gray area, which is going to be the Vindicators and also Trot WYS, they're not in a great spot right now because everyone else from the bottom and has been delivering. New Gen can definitely just surprise us just like a little bit in every single match they're at. Yeah. They're at the middle. They're getting like double digits. So that's going to be very impressive for them to overtake Black Angel, Monkey Tribe, and Trot WYS, and even Reviolus going into that 12th spot.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And that would just be so shocking if they can pull it off on the very final day. 2 back-to-back matches now they've performed, and this is a very important point. They performed in the matches where you have got Group A. Well, clearly the rest of their own team members in there, there's no way they can break away from the Titans, but they're still able to deliver, right? Later on, as they take on Group C, they will see the aggressive side of VPH Velocity, so that's exactly where they have to pull back a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls. But so far, New Gen on the rise up to the top. But a quick map recap here. Match number 1 taken by Bloodyhead as they score the Booyah on Purgatory, and of course, round 2, AKO, they hit right back. But let us not forget, even in that first match, AKO, they picked up that second spot, Beat.
Yeah, I mean, they hit the home run there and they keep performing every single round, and for them to just perform into the very end, that is going to be very important because like we said a while ago, Vete Esports, they have been stopped by a lot of great teams, but to what extent, we're seeing it like in bright spots, yes, but they're still up on top. They're still getting points, and right below them, I mean, AKO Ligers, yes, they won, but right below them is still Vete Esports, where they should have probably gone down just a little bit, but they're just that good that it doesn't really matter. They know when to attack, they know when to position themselves, even though they were down one person, and that's the reason why they're up at top, because they really perform at the face of adversity. Yeah, the question now is, can Vete Esports hit right back hard
in matches 5 and 6. But of course, they have to rest up, right? Matches 3 and 4 coming up for you guys. Group A will take a seat. Group C jumps into the fray. That means AV Crusaders, the bottom feeders, they are currently in that 17th spot at the very bottom of the leaderboard. They're going to be trying to find their way up as well. Axis, a team that we have seen on a steady path to kind of secure that top 12 for them. They started off the day in that 11th position. They will, we'll be looking towards them to see if or not they will be able to bring in some of the consistency, right? Equinox, Monkey Tribe, Reviolas, as well as VPH Velocity jumps right back into the mix. And this is where I get excited, Beef, because like you said earlier on, the team that you're keeping your eye out for, the ones that haven't really made it into the top 12, Monkey Tribe, they now get to perform.
Oh, this is going to be very good because Reviav Aviolas is going to be in that 12th spot, and just like a few points in between them, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be comfortable because literally it's 5 points in between Trot WIS and Rev Aviolas. So if they don't perform here, it could be bye-bye for them.
And it's 6 points between Monkey Tribe and Reviolas. So Reviolas right now, if there's anything, they feel the heat, right? The heat right under the bump. And we can expect them to go in there and try their best to make it fourth. But a lot of teams will be doing the exact same thing, just like me on that final day of exams. That's exactly when I sit down and start reading my book, Beef. and that's exactly when all of the hustle is there, right, to pick those points up. So let's see if or not these teams will be able to bring out their best. And whilst they bring out their best, don't allow the Titans to do anything for the rest of the competition, because I think we've seen enough of them already.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the performance of Group A, and definitely they've been slaying. And I feel like that has brought like a positive influence on a team like New Gen, because they stepped it up. And that's the reason why it's really unfortunate that they always have to go up against such a massive group. But going up against Group B, they're just so impressive to see as well. But now if they're going to be basically going up against that team as well in 5 and 6, Group C. And if they perform well against Group B, which I think is a little bit of a harder, opponent to just go up against, Group C can definitely try to go for New Gen a little bit of a better light. But you do have VPH Velocity, who's been ripping out through the competition, really just blazing through guns ablaze.
Yeah, I mean, if AKO is doing good today, they did good yesterday as well, right? But VPH Velocity, they kind of just beat them with the aggression, and that's just something so shocking to see. And VPH Velocity, it was a team that wasn't super quick in terms of climbing up the leaderboard. It's most definitely been a slow rise for them, but most definitely a sure rise up to the top. They were around the 11th spot and then slowly climbed up to the 9th, and they hung around the 8th and 9th position for quite a while. And yesterday they broke into the 5th spot, and now just behind Go Willem Views, they have the opportunity to play catch up. But in order to catch up and beat Go Willem Views, they need about 50 points more. So I believe it's a little bit too much to ask for, but what they can most definitely aim for is to hold on to their spot and not drop any further points, right? Because behind them, behind VPH Velocity, Bloody Head is just way too close. VPH is on 288. The last time we checked out Bloody Head, they were on 275 points. That's just a little too close for comfort.
Yeah, definitely. Because with VPH Velocity going up a really fast speed, it's scary to see this kind of good team going into the finals as well. Because Go Willem Views, they've been a little bit so-so here so far. They haven't gotten a win in so long, and they just broke through into the very beginning of the match. You were there, you were casting, you saw the brilliance that was Go Willem Views, but I feel like they got left out just a little bit into the very end, where everyone else was already kind of learning and improving in the form of, let's say, New Gen, VPH Velocity, even Eva Radicals getting those 2 booyahs yesterday. You kind of see Wills in a little bit of a weird spot where they did so well, and we don't really see as much growth as we want them to have.
Yeah, and I just feel like that's more towards the mental capability of Go Willem Views to go against some of their own inconsistencies in the competition and really just bring their confidence levels back up high, right? Because it wasn't like it was a bad performance from the squad all the way through. They had amazing games, and then a few mistakes started, and ever since those mistakes have started, they haven't continuously done bad, but they just haven't been great again. So that's just a path that they have to figure out for themselves. But even as they struggle, we have to commend Go Willem Views for managing to climb up from that 4th spot and replace Eva Radicals, albeit by just 1 point. Let's take it from the top. Vete Esports, they maintain their first rank with 418 points, but kudos AKO Ligers, 394 points now. Really close to Vete Esports. What was seen as untouchable just at the start of the day just seems like a possible run now for AKO. Go Willem Views, quite a distance away from AKO Ligers, they with the 362 points in the 3rd spot. Eva Radicals in the 4th spot with 361. 301 Bloody Head sitting down the 5th spot. This is what we were talking about, where it's going to be quite tough for them to catch up with that 4th position, but they have to be really close, really careful with BPH Velocity. Bloody Head, they've already had the opportunity to play 2 rounds. BPH Velocity, they haven't had any chances in here just yet, and now they have 4 back-to-back rounds to get everything done right. So Bloody Head, no matter what, within these next 2 matches, they have to make sure they at the very least get into the final circle to play it safe for themselves. Who's next in the 7th spot with 248, followed by Equinox and the Vindicators in the 8th and 9th positions.
And taking a look at who is going to be on the right side, Eagle Oblivion's 204. Pretty comfortable spot up against Axis, who's at the 11th spot right now with 172. It's because they've been performing so well. And yes, they don't get a lot of those booyahs, but they place high enough, they get a lot of kills to just be more comfortable and really not really worry if they're not going to make it to the top 12. But Axis, that's going to be a team that is probably a little bit nervous at the moment, as well as Trot WYS. You can see here, Rev Aviol is going down a notch, 1 point just up against the person who's probably gonna kick you out into the 12th spot. But you can see here New Gen going up 2 places. That is just crazy. They are so close, just 6 points away from the 12th spot. AJ, I'm so excited for that round number 5 and 6, because this is where we should put our eyes on. And now, going down so far away, Monkey Tribe 160, Black Angel 155, and AP Crusaders with 114.
This is just absolutely insane, right? This has just been the first 2 matches of the day, and now Monkey Tribe, they have got 4 back-to-back games to prove themselves, to climb up the leaderboard, to make sure the rest of the teams have got nothing on them. Yes, WYS did have a little bit of a leeway here by getting the first 2 matches, but let's see what breaks down later on. AKO Ligers, on the other hand, they will hit another MVP title, and this time Jaboywa picks up the first one for himself. Overall, AKO Ligers, they will equalize the record set by Eva Radicals in here so far for the 5th MVP title under the squad. 3,204 damage, 8 kills, 1 assist. The hit rate not super impressive, but if it gets the job done, he most definitely will be smiling all the way to the bank. 34.2% with the hit rates.
Jaboywa can definitely lead his team to success if they are consistent enough. And you know what's impressive, AJ? The points between them and Beta Esports, it's just 24. We thought at the beginning of today and yesterday that it was just so far off. But for AKO Ligers to perform every single match that they're at, closing the gap with a mere just 24 points left, Vete is probably just banging their heads in the wall and be like, okay, how did we let this happen? How did we just close the gap for that much and really just give away a lot of these points, especially into that first matchup where they were just a little bit too aggressive? Yeah, absolutely right. And they were playing that aggression for a good reason. They wanted to make sure they can secure all of these points for themselves. But I feel like they've just kind of lost a little bit of their momentum because they switched up their gameplay. From being super passive and finding those engagements in the final circle, they want to find these engagements now very early on in the game. I don't know if the engagement with Eva Radicals was something that they forced or Eva Radicals wanted a piece of them, but either way, they got out of that. But, the future engagements right after, they weren't as lucky, right? Perhaps the first fight with Eva Radicals just took a lot out of them, but either way, they need to find that momentum back in here soon, or AKO Ligers, not only will they be knocking down that door, they'll bust right through and replace these guys in that number 1 spot. And be 25K richer, right? So at the end of the day, they want that money. Why? It's because they can get like 2 phones, Infinix phones that can boost up their game. And now we're headed back into Purgatory, our third matchup of the day. And so far it has been spicy. I'm looking forward to it because number one, we don't know who's going to be number one by the end of this day. Not only that, we don't know who's going to be in that 12th spot because we literally have 4 teams trying to fight for it.
Yeah, let's see who will be able to maintain the consistency as they rise up to the top. This time, Black Angel right out of that initial flight quickly as it cuts through from Golf down all the way down in towards the Forge. Golf course will see the players of Ego Oblivion, Short WYS just beside them. Vindicators will have a party a little bit later on. Monkey Tribe and the fight against Black Angel, that's most definitely something that they want to get into very early on. But hopefully Bloody Heads, they don't find them with all of those sounds that they make in the early segments of this matchup. Axis going to be flanked by Equinox, but I don't know if that's bad for Equinox or Axis beef.
And you can see here that VPH Velocity, they're very comfortable in this map. And the fact that they dropped in a place where they always get a lot of loot, Brasilia is definitely a spot that they always drop in. And not only that, they get so much kills in Purgatory. They have 5.88. Now that is definitely a really high number here. The only team that can actually come against really close to those numbers is AKO Ligers, and they're not here at the moment. So that's a really good start for them, but hopefully a lot of these teams will try to stop them in the tracks, knowing very well that VPH Velocity is always going to be in that spot.
Yeah, this is, whenever we look at Group B versus C, it's just the main focus on the fight for the 12th spot, right? Yes, we do have VPH Velocity, but once again, like what we were talking about earlier, it was VPH, the fight that they have in here is only against Bloody Head, just to see exactly who can pick up the 5th and 6th position. Equinox from afar, playing that buddy system really well. Yes, they did have Axis between them, and it's not something that they're going to be worrying about for the time being, because as this buddy system is pulled off to perfection, they get to find loots in 2 different areas, but I'm hoping they find each other and get back into a full squad soon, because I'm not a great big fan of this strategy unless, you are a super sound mechanical squad.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And for a team like Equinox that doesn't really perform that well in Purgatory, out of all of their booyahs, they do have 2. It was in Bermuda and Kalahari, and none yet so far in Purgatory. And also, their numbers for their kills aren't really that impressive as well. Only 2 average kills for them. So they got to play this even smarter than usual. And what we've seen so far with their drop, going in for the water, if there was one team there, they could have been eliminated so early on, and just having to go there, that's probably not the best situation to have. But here we go. Let's take a look at Black Angels having a really hard time in the day so far.
They do have a vehicle on their side, Monkey Tribe. They hear the sounds, but they are not dropping by to check out exactly who's here. And Black Angel, they don't have to worry about anything for the time being. Even if trouble does loom beyond them, you see those 3 zip lines just beyond the screen. They should be able to get out of there in the nick of time. It's all up to luck from then on end as to who they find on the other side of that zip line. So it potentially might be a great idea for them to get the scouting done a little bit earlier on before they are forced to move out of that compound. Yes, you are comfortable once you land at a spot, but you always have to be on the lookout as to who's around you. Without information, you're just walking around a huge map line, and that's just not a good strategy.
Yeah, you just try to plan the next steps ahead. And I feel like for Black Angels, that's where they kind of lack in trying to see into the future. Because once you set yourself into a position where, okay, you think it's good, but after like a few minutes, okay, you know what? We're probably going to be cornered here, and it's probably best for us to go and readjust. And that's where you see teams such as Veta Esports, even though they have 1 person down, they still have 10 steps of, planning. And really, that's the reason why they are a really good team, because they have so many backup plans. But now, taking a look at what we have here, Equinox goes down. Just one person. Diffusal goes down already. Yeah, boy, not being able to go in for the pickup because of how far away they are from each other. And that's why this doesn't work out for them. We talked about this a while ago. And here we go. The Vindicators just heating up just a little bit.
Yeah, boy. Trigger discipline was most definitely there, but the aim just not perfect. And now Black blinding him for a couple of seconds. 56 HP, tries to spray one down with his shotgun, but just not quick enough as Zyborg finds him and puts him out of his misery as well. Equinox 2 players down, and now Black Angel taking the initiative to start this fight up against Monkey Tribe. They should be able to catch off Siasi. Siasi should be able to catch off Arfarv. Together with him, it will be Monkey Tribe who back out of it. They have got the information. They don't really have much of a compound to work with right outside B.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Monkey Tribe just gathered the information, repositioned themselves, and maybe fight Black Angel when Black Angel needs to go and push, because most definitely they need to go and push into that direction because the circle is right there. But now Vindicators tries to finish off the Equinox members that still are alive, but it's a good thing that they just back away from the situation. And that is why it just doesn't work out when you see a body of water going in between a buddy system that can work out if you don't have to swim in between that. So they weren't able to use the zip line as well to their advantage, and now that we can see that VDR is a really good squad right now with just 2 kills, that is something that they can use and see in going into the circle against Equinox later on. But Cyborg doesn't really know that they already pushed away.
Yeah, this is a good engagement for the side of Vindicators, because we have to remember, Vindicators, they are about 11 points behind of Equinox in the 9th position. So not only do they bag the players of Equinox, all they need to make sure now is they get 11 more points in comparison with Equinox. Just play placements from here on in and just hope that Equinox does not find their way into that final circle, because it's all about just rising one position after the other, step by step in the competition. Drone right above VPH velocity. Reviola's just beyond the edge of that drone's vision. Let's see exactly what sort of a play VPH brings in here. One eagle on their side. You can see Arky on already. Probably to get that information from around Brasilia. They haven't stepped out of here just yet. They landed in here and they have had a gala time looting up the spot.
Yeah, that's why they always choose Brasilia as a drop-off spot. But here we go. Bloody Heads really wants to go and make a comeback after that game that they had a while ago. And now we also see Black Angels just passing through, just flying through, getting that information as well. As just 2 players left in their team. Rev Abiolas, on the other hand, needs to handle this as well, because if we see VPH Velocity try to go in there for the backup as well, in for the pinch, that's going to be bad news for them. But here we go. Bloody Heads applying that pressure to them. And there you go. Rev Abiolas making mistakes. And this is supposed to be crucial for them, where they're not going to be comfortable because they bumped down into that 13th spot.
This was just a perfect execution from the players of Bloody Head. And now they've got these vehicles just strewn across all of the field here for them to play around with, right? And we talked about this. You need the vehicles out there for the mobility. Get that extra information on your hand. And Bloody Head, they are playing that to perfection. Remember what we talked about. VPH Velocity being a part of this matchup against Group B. This is something that Bloody Head needs to look out for and make sure they don't allow VPH Velocity to catch up, because they've already done good enough, but they only have 2 more rounds left in the day. So every single one that they get in this match and the next, very important. Shanks with a great nade with the first knock, but how will Trot WYS wrap this up? Equinox, Zhao right in front, gets taken out. Shanks from the back as well. Both players shut down.
WY is finally making good shots for today, just because of how much pressure it is to be in that 13th spot. And they need to go and overthrow everyone else, and that's the reason why they're doing such an amazing play here. But they need to go and push, because as much as they are comfortable here, someone's gonna go and gatekeep them, because they are kind of far away from the circle. But you can see here, Bloody Heads might see, you can see on the very bottom left of the screen right now on the map, VPH Velocity just sitting pretty, and the Bloody Head might actually just walk into a trap.
Yeah, Trot WYS, they are going to be smiling ear to ear. Earlier on, I believe they saw the players of Reviola's dunk out of this lobby early. Trot WYS, they cut in front of Reviola's into the 12th spot now, but they're just 1 point ahead of them. And knowing that they are already doing better in this round, most definitely the best adrenaline boost that the players of Trot WYS can have for themselves. Monkey Tribe still alive and kicking.
they are not too far away from that number 12 spot. In fact, just 7 points behind. So they just need to find the momentum in this matchup as well. But the kind of position they hold, they now have to swim across towards campsite. The saving grace here is there doesn't seem to be a opponent in front of them that can gatekeep them. But that's only if they start moving right now towards Brasilia.
Right, and it's really just ego that can probably, be a little bit of trouble for Monkey Tribe, because we know that Ego Oblivions has been performing so well in this competition so far. And for a team like Monkey Tribes, where they're a little bit 50-50, especially if they don't have the high ground, they need to find a way to probably get a vehicle, get that information, like what we've been seeing here, not only from EVA Radicals, but also we also see from WYS as well. So we need to see that kind of gameplay from all of these teams that, are kind of thriving. And that's why we like to see AV as well perform, because so far they're at the bottom of the pack, like we keep saying, and going up against 2 members of Bloody Heads, this should be an easy win for them.
See whether or not AV will be able to find all of those shots. Morris, Jai, Meow just holding the left flank well, but Kaloy might be able to break his gameplay. Meow, good on the double glue wall play just to cut all of the distance, and now Jai just moving in. Meow cooking the grenade up already. Kaloy repositions himself, moving away from Jai, pulls out the glue wall to play this, and now a double one pulled out. He's only got 3 more glue walls to play. Jai almost taken down. Kaloy should have pulled off one more shot, but he does have that backup. Morgana from the back. Kaloy still alive and kicking, shotgun in hand, and the players of AV Crusaders coming in here, cutting the distance, but that just seems to be in the favor of Kaloy with the shotgun now. He is the aggressor.
Kaloy is just blazing in there, and just like that, you get to see a bunch of players from AV Crusaders just going down, but Kaloy goes down as well, and it's all up to Bloody Heads to try and go and pick him up just like that. But they are going to be near each other though, so it's still very possible for him to get that aid. But then there you go, AV Crusaders finally goes down, and I like what Kaloy did. He was pushed in there very well, but his movement and the placement of his glue walls was just so perfect that he applied that pressure, put down one player from AV Crusaders, and just waited for his team to get close to him, because there were only 2 of them there, and I thought it was just going to be a 2v4 situation, but they baited them out of that compound.
Yeah, it was just great game sense there from Kaloy, and he had the shotgun, and that was the best decision from him, because as the shotgun holder, you don't really want to aggress on them. You want to take them by surprise as they come around those corners. But as that approach was coming through, it was that great game sense that he had that kind of detected, okay, the way those glue walls are being set up, they are trying to cut the distance. Let me reposition myself. And it's great that he pulled off that decision, because a couple of seconds later, here came flying one nade. And if he had just held on to that position 1 second too long, Kaloy would have been toast in that very second, and Bloody Head, they would have lost a really great player from right in front. But as Kaloy was about to be in the most amount of pressure, when 2 of those players already cut the distance, we saw Morgana with the backup. And that is the beauty of Bloody Head, right? The fact that they can count on each other. And now Ego Oblivion keeping the players of Monkey Tribe pressured beyond the zone, and Bloody Head's coming in here for the finisher. Kaloy takes Fan down onto the ground. Malte tries to finish things off. They will be able to find Miracle as well. And another player, 2 more players in fact, from the side of Monkey Tribe with a long flank around. They don't want to deal with Bloody Head.
And that is the smartest thing that they can do at the moment, and just pray, and no one is gonna gatekeep them. So it's all just that one person to try and get placement points from Monkey Tribe, because as we know, it's all about that 1 point that makes a difference if you make it in this competition or not. But here, a team that has been very impressive so far. Ego, really big kills as well from that last matchup that they have. Ego Oblivion's doing an amazing job into positioning as well, not really wanting to have any sort of conflict early on in the matchup, especially with Bloody Heads going in there for a rampage, trying to take down every team that they have. But again, like we saw a while ago in Beta Esports, they probably need to slow it down and try to position themselves, especially if they're going to be going up against a team like VPH Velocity.
Absolutely right, because the one team that they are trying to catch up with is VPH. Although they have got 10 kills on their side so far, getting into the final zone a little weak will just give that momentum over to VPH, who are already in the center of the current zone, just gatekeeping the rest of those teams as they try to make that approach. And now now they've got their eyes on Axis. Bloody Head, as they make their approach, they find Seika. Seika just a little bit more to get taken down, pulls out the glue wall, but Mark, as usual, with the long-range engagement, finds the guy in his crosshairs, shuts him down, and they continue the move straight towards Axis instead. And they will, after finishing off Axis, have to deal with the players of VPH, so this has to be a careful approach by Bloody Head, and they start things off. But Jonel finds Mark from afar. This is most definitely going to hurt the players of Bloody Head, and now they need to make sure they finish off Axis because of that one player they've lost.
But they mounted with the triple. That's going to be very big as well. Axis Nathan goes down, and their efforts were kind of wasted because they weren't able to finish it off. And yes, they were able to get down players, but just like that, they were healed up very much. And it's going to be very difficult if Axis tries to play this game up against Bloody Heads, because if they get too distracted and not try to push into the circle, that is going to be detrimental, especially with VPH just getting free kills into the compound.
This is just 25 seconds now for the players of Bloody Head to make the move in towards the next circle. Gate kept by VPH, not a great idea. But now Ego Oblivions buying the players of Bloody Head a lot of time. Laurie shuts down Carloy, down on the ground, not taken out just yet. Good time turner. And now the ring around the Rosie. Laurie just moving in and out. Finally shuts down Carloy. Morgana, no backup just yet. Mouty from the back. Bad child with the aggressive moves right beyond the hill. And he will be able to catch him off guard. Morgana now pressured by the zone as well, as Axis will be able to make their way in towards the next zone and keep their eyes onto Morgana. Morgana has an option: get taken down by the zone or by a player right outside.
If I were Morgana, I'd stay out of the zone and not give away any points to anyone. So that's probably going to be the smartest thing that Bloody Heads can do, is to just die via zone. And right now, that doesn't happen though, because VPH Velocity is still there trying to get a lot of these points as well. And now we get to see it. VPH Velocity already going in there, but the Vindicators as well, and WYS just trying to greet them. But you can see here, Trot WYS, they have a really good position because of the hut that they're at.
Oh yeah. Now, Trot WYS sitting down in the 12th spot. What they want to do is perform better than Axis. Check. They also want to get the Booyah. Not check just yet. With General down on the ground, they have to play this a little bit more safely. Perhaps put Vindicators in the crosshairs of VPH and then step away from this fight. Is that going to be on their side? Will Vindicators throw in a couple of shots towards the players of VPH to give them that momentum? Flocky finds Arky, but from across, Shanks will find Unknown from the side of BDR. This is just turning out to be a great fight for the side of Trot WYS.
You're absolutely right, because you see Henry applying that pressure when he was waiting for his teammates to get healed. They couldn't even just touch him. VPH Velocity was too preoccupied with Henry taking a lot of those shots. But another team that can actually apply that pressure to the Vindicators as well is going to be Trot WYS, that has such good sides on both of these teams. Yeah. And now it's all of the Vindicators who they want to go up against. They want to go up against Trot WYS or
now it started. And this, just as requested by Trot WYS, VPH, they turn over to the Vindicators, and the Vindicators start that fight up against VPH. And this is the best position for the players of Trot WYS to cut this distance from afar. They will be able to get that knock. Vindicators taken out already. Jonel gets the kill. Blocky, no grenade in his hands, but 6 of those glue walls to play with. Tries to take the flank. Jonel right behind, outside of the zone. Blocky makes that no mistake whatsoever. Trot WYS with the 3rd booyah of the league stages, and they will be able to secure a great place in the top 12.
And here we go. This is what we like to see from the teams that really want to scrap through into the top 12. And Axis is going to be in trouble, because this will definitely bump them down a notch. And Trot WYS doing amazing plays. And that is just like, the positioning was so good. And not only that, I want to talk about General really quick, because I feel like he was the playmaker in his team, because when one of his teammates were down by VPH Velocity, his other teammate was actually healing them inside the time turner.
Yeah.
In return, he was applying that pressure outside to just stop VPH Velocity to do more damage inside the hut.
Yeah, and Trot WYS overall, even in that final engagement against VPH, they took initiative to go and be the aggressors in that situation, right? And that's exactly what was required from them all throughout the competition. But it doesn't matter, even though we get it a little bit late, as long as it is here. And Trot WYS, we talked about how the fight for the 12th spot is going to be so hot. And Trot WYS, they started off the day in the 13th position. They climbed up to the 12th spot after the first 2 matches. And now with this game, they most most definitely have managed to catch up with Axis. Are they going to be able to now, with their final match in here of the day in game number 4, not only leave Axis in the dust, but catch up with Ego Oblivions, really secure the top 12 for them? Or will they drop out now? Because after this final match, they will allow the rest of Team C to continue this journey.
And it's just really the question of everyone who's below Trot WYS, Rev Aviolus, New Gen, Monkey Tribe, Black Angel, for them to perform. And so far, we haven't seen them perform just yet. Maybe New Gen, yes, can probably overtake Rev Aviolus because Rev Aviolus was taken so early on from this matchup where I feel like if they don't perform by now, they will have such a hard time. And yes, they have a lot more chances to go in get more points. But from what we've seen from Trot, Ego Oblivions, and New Gen, they've been stepping it up where Rev Aviolus has been a little bit, quietly going down a notch.
And, I don't think that was planned by Reviolus, right? Obviously, they want to get into that zone, but as how Gods of RNG would have these matches stacked against them, as they're trying to get from one spot to the other, they just seem to get caught in positions where they can't really handle the gunfight. And this is not something that is new to us. Reviolus has most definitely struggled all throughout the competition in terms of their engagements with the other teams. One of the teams that truly have the least amount of kills throughout the whole league stages. Bloodyhead, as they took on the players of Reviolus, kind of proved that the mechanical skills really important, because it was Reviolus that had a better position against them, but Bloodyhead, with the perfect clinical skills out there in terms of execution, made that look way too easy.
Definitely. And speaking of a team that made it look too easy, VPH Velocity definitely is very impressive because we get to see how they performed well, even though they were outside of the compound, that they could take out a team like Black Angels. And Black Angels is probably not the most mechanically gifted team, but they can definitely go and perform. But I feel like this is one of the highlights for me in this matchup, where Kaloy just baited every single one of the players of AP Crusaders all by himself and just made them have 4 more kills to their name. And yes, they didn't win, but it's still really impressive that they had so many kills up in the first half of the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And because they managed to get up to the 10 kill points already, by the time they got taken down here, they most definitely have sandbagged themselves quite well in terms of those points in this third matchup to not really worry too much about VPH Velocity. Remember, they've already shot past them. They weren't really able to get into that final zone because of that circle this time round and getting caught with Axis and having VPH themselves play all of the pressure from the middle of the circle. But, they try to handle it the best way possible. But Trot WYS most definitely was the one that, oh my lord, bloody head. Oh, bloody head. What a play, man. I mean, they get 6 placement points, but 13 kill points. When I said they sandbagged themselves, I was expecting them to at least get that second spot. Never did I, in my wildest thoughts or dreams, thought that Bloodyhead will be able to secure that number 1 spot. And they just keep it at a good pace because VPH Velocity, although they place better, they equalize in the number of points. And VPH Velocity will continue to stay behind Bloodyhead. But we have to remember once again, VPH has 2 extra matches after Bloodyhead is done in the next game. So next matchup, it is the booyah or nothing for the players of Bloodyhead. Trot WYS maintaining, running in here with their consistency in terms of trying to find their points, although they don't hit hard round after round, to be able to get in here, pick the booyah up 6 points with the kills as well. Superb in terms of performance. 18 monstrous points. Monstrous for Trot WYS they pick up in this game. Vindicators as well as Ego Oblivions, followed by Axis in the 4th, 5th, and 6th spot with 12, 8, and 7 points consecutively.
I'm going to be a little bit nervous for Axis at the moment because Trot WYS is bringing it to the table, and Axis with a mere 7 points is definitely something that they don't want to see, and hopefully they bring it up into the next matches that they will get. And yeah, obviously they have a little bit more matches, but it's just not that easy because you get to see a team like Equinox really bringing it to the table but falling off. But yes, they're safe, but Axis is not safe at the moment because they can just easily be brought down. Monkey Charm, on the other hand, as much as we wanted them to perform as well, they just did not deliver into this matchup. And again, looking at that very bottom, Rev Abiola's having that 0. Man, that is just so hard to see right now.
You know, it just happens, right, in a game of Battle Royale where sometimes you just go up against someone a little bit too early. And in this particular scenario, it was a team that they just could not overcome. Bloody Head, they were super sharp. They had the Booyah in that first game already. They couldn't really find their momentum in game number 2, and they wanted to hit hard in game 3. They brought out the aggressive sides, but they unfortunately bagged it out a little bit early because they were so focused, hyper-focused in getting all of these kills in terms of kill points for themselves. They didn't really focus so much on the zone. And when they wanted to focus on playing the zone, they were caught in the crossfire between two teams, right? Not really sandwiched, but between the safe zone, trying to get into a better spot, you having the players of Axis on the bridge together with you and VPH right below with those shots. It just gets a little bit crazy. But things are about to get even crazier, beef, as we take a quick short break, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. When we come back, it's going to be round number 4.
Hello, my name is John Michael Elcera, also known as McRory. I am 23 years old. I am from Team Betty Esports and my position is Team Captain. One fun fact about myself is I started playing games since I was young and even won a physical prize. Ang gaming setup ko ay simple lang. Phone ko, earphones, isang unan, pulbos, at isang boteng tubig. Nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire noong November 2017, pinakilala kasi ito sa akin ng aking kaibigan, and proud akong sabihin na isa ako sa mga beta player. The game is very fun and competitive, at kahit sobrang tagal ko na naglalaro ng Free Fire, bawat match o laro is still as exciting as the day noong nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire. Ang best moment ko ay nung ginamit ko ang grenade launcher to do a squad wipe in FFPO Grand Finals Game 2, and it gave my team a momentum to get a booyah in that round. Isa sa pangarap ko ang maging professional esports player. Madami ako nasalihan at naipanalo ng tournament, kaya nang sumikap ako kasanabot kay pagiging pro player. Isa pang dahilan ay kumikita ako ng pera habang ginagawa ko yung hilig ko. After matapos ng MCP Season 1, umalis yung 2 kong player, at dahil invited ang team ko sa MCP Season 2, naganap ako ng 2 player para ma-meet yung requirement. Nirecommend ng kaibigan ko yung 2 player na kakilala niya na may experience sa tournament, kaya agad ko sila ni-recruit upang mabuo ang SAP Deathwish na ang tawag ngayon ay Betty Esports. Yung time na sa sobrang Seni 4 beats, nampas niya ng unan sa mukha si Damon nung nagawa namin maging top 3 sa Group A play-ins ng Free Fire Asia Championship. Want to know how I play? Catch me on Free Fire Challengers Philippines. Tara, Free Fire!
Right now is in there going in, taking down
Oh,
Invaders,
wow.
but no Sao has been taken down. AKO right now is in prime position.
Blake's not going to be too happy about that, but there's nothing he can do. Mark shuts down Bayern before he can get away, and those snipes. The backup might just come through.
They go in for the pickup, but what a play! Axis gets taken out of the equation as well. Reveolas gets into the fight against Equinox. Equinox shutting them down one after the other. Pax will get caught as well, and it looks like the players are making esports with McRory. Stop that. Tokyo now back on the ground. McRory from afar. Grenade launcher not in play just yet. McRory, the goalie of AJ Esports, finally pulls out that nade. Is he going to be able to hit it? Yes, he hits it! In here, Blocky takes those shots against Nugent. Oh, Nugent! Newgen, they will be able to bag a lot, but Newgen themselves gets eliminated by Trot WYS, and now Eva Radicals making their way in here to the final zone. Golden Views, Whisket as well taken out. A double nade being sent by Tanamo as well as Rabiel, but Trot WYS finishes them as well with those nades, Neptune. JC Jacob, he just has got shit in front of him, pulls out the camouflage, and the plant goes for the pickup right now. And they will have 2 players on their side, but not a lot of cover.
Oh, and there goes the
Oh,
hit.
hey, double
Eagle will be flying out and will be hit. Will be able to run away, AJ. But how long?
And welcome back to the Free Fire Philippines Open, and it is going to be the league stages. It's your girl Beef Mommy, and with me today is the AJ Mustachio. Today we've been having an amazing time just because of how well these teams have been performing, and they are doing it so well because it's either you're in or out, because it's the last day where you can go and try to have a position into our finals day. So AJ, what are you feeling here so far, where this is the last spot where Group B can go and perform?
Yeah, I'm nervous, right? I'm nervous for, some of these teams in here. Trot WYS, yes, they've done good. Yes, they've done super well. But this is their last match. This is the final opportunity for Trot WYS to pick up as much as possible of those points to make sure nobody else catches up with them, to make sure nobody pushes them down into the 13th spot later on at the end of the day. And the best way they can make sure of this is to climb above and beyond Axis. We know that their previous matchup has been enough for them to do exactly that, but Axis, they have a opportunity to hit right back. And not only can they hit back, Axis haven't really played, the equal number of matches with them, right? So they have got way more of those opportunities. So that's definitely going to keep Trot WYS nervous all throughout this, right? And Bloodyhead in a similar situation as well. They have scored 1 booyah so far. They have got the number 1 spot, even though they were nowhere close to the booyah in the 3rd game. And VPH Velocity, they are hot on their heels. Similar to that situation, VPH Velocity have not played the same number of games. So Bloodyhead, they will be nervous as well. But not as nervous as Trot WYS for, reasons we all know.
Yeah, and I mean, Trot WYS, it's their last time, like what you said a while ago, to just perform.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the scariest thing for Trot WYS because there's only 1 point in between Rev Aviolas and try to overtake them. If Rev tries to overtake them, just because we know they have more games in their arsenal, they need to win. They need to have another booyah here if they want to just secure 1 more spot against them.
Yeah, and in the previous matchup when Trot WYS picked up 18 of those points, it's super solid. It was enough to climb up, like I said. Don't know if it's enough to sustain all the way through. But once again, strategy without hardware is absolutely nothing. Inflix Mobile is the official sponsor of the Free Fire Philippines Challenges Philippines, and you get to fire up your game with Infinix's best-selling gaming smartphone, the Infinix Note 11S.
And that's really one thing to note here because this phone is just so good and so powerful. The Infinix Note 11S is that smartphone that can definitely deliver, especially with the Helio G96 Ultra gaming processor. So fire up your game and get this now for only 9,990 pesos. Literally, it's so cheap. And we said this yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wish when I was younger and really into gaming, and I was just gaming every day, to have a phone this accessible, to have this power, and to be this cheap.
I mean, the price point's just insane. Now, we did manage to spot a player of Ego Oblivion, but it looks like they only stepped in here with 3 players. Twinkle almost shut down. Reveolis trying to make a lot happen for them early game. And we were talking about them just moments ago. They were the ones trotting right behind Trot WYS. And if they're able to find all of these players from the side of Ego Oblivions early on, that might just put them on the best trajectory in this matchup itself to play that pressure on Trot even before we get into the final 2 matches where Reveolis will still be playing. But Trot WYS will not have that opportunity. Wing will drop down onto the ground. Great approach here by 1-2. And Reveolis so far, they are executing this attack.
Wanted looking really good and finally securing that kill for his team, and Ego Oblivion needs to back away. And I feel like they were just spread out just a little bit too much, and the overpush was just definitely right there. And it didn't really work out for them. And now Rev Aviola's finally having that 1 point secured, and that's going to be a really good start for them because yes, this is their second match of the day, and they definitely have 2 more, but they need to gather all of the points they have, especially knowing that Trot WYS did so good a while ago, but they do have the opportunity to kick them down as well if they perform here, if they perform in every single match that is gonna happen in the next few moments. So now for them to just loot up in this compound really quickly, that is the best that they can do, is to have engagements, know very well not to be aggressive, and just stick together as a team.
And for a team like Reviola's, the best opportunity for you to bag these points, it's going to be up against Group B, right? Because when Group A steps into the fray, it's a whole other story. Because the story that we kind of started the day off on, the fight for that #1 spot, it will continue. AKO Ligers, VTE Esports, they are just going to go loggerheads against each other to see exactly who gets the bonus 25,000. That is the disparity between those placements, between the first spot and the second spot. And as a matter of fact, even between the second spot and the third spot, that's exactly the distance, right? 25,000 pesos. So a lot for teams like even Go Willem Views to fight for in here. And teams like Raviolas, they will get left behind in a match like that. So not only have they got focused in here to bag the most, they also have to play for all of those placement points, which are not going to come easy.
Oh, speaking of not an easy time, take a look at that. Not only are they going to be having less room here, less comfort, VPH Velocity is there to greet them with open arms if they choose to do so. But the information does pull through. They know that some of these players are already right there. And it's one player that is going to be overextending just a little bit, as most of the Rev Aviola's team is going to be right away from him. So they need to just regroup, try to reevaluate the situation, and there you go, VPH Velocity not wanting to engage.
I love that, right? And this is a change in pace up from VPH Velocity as well. Very interesting. VPH Velocity, they have got 3 more matches within the day. And as they back away from this compound, Janelle stays as the watch guard to make sure the rest of those team members do not really come after his squad. And VPH, they will be able to back away from Clock Tower into its factory and then potentially rotate in towards Fortunok. And if they do, Crusaders might just be on the menu.
Oh, that's going to be very tricky. As you can see, VPH Velocity is very hungry for those kills, really wanting to overthrow bloody heads and bring them to the guillotine. And as we see all of these teams go and push into the circle, this is a pretty good start for a lot of these teams. We don't really get to see a lot of careless plays. That is very impressive to see here. It seems like they want to just take their time and just loot up and get into position. Kind of like what we saw a while ago in VPH Velocity. Could have taken that fight against Rev Aviolas, but didn't choose to do so, because I feel like what they have at the moment, the utils that they need, they don't have it yet, but they're definitely going to get it here.
And this is the part where Black Angel has to back away, play the defensive a little bit. Zio, very aggressive as he steps on forward. Arfaf will be able to shut down Eklog, and that's the perfect start for the players of Black Angel. Eklog taken out of the equation. Zio now on the ground as well. And Black Angel, they strike back. Arfaf, with so much of firepower with that SMG, will be able to find Unknown as well. Gradient out for the strike this time round, and Zyborg, as quick as his feet can take him, flies out of there. The Vindicators have nothing on Black Angels as they try to find the 12th position for themselves.
And Black Angel finally opening their eyes and seeing that, okay, we can really have a lot of kills now, because in the past few games that they've had, they weren't really performing that well, unfortunately. So for them to start off really hot is definitely going to be very impressive. But taking a look at this, VPH Velocity seems like they really can't shake off here Rev Ayolis, who's already taken over the factory and basically has been playing a game of cat and mouse. But who the cat is, it's definitely going to be a little bit questionable, just because we know VPH Velocity can do well under pressure, but how much Rev Aviolas can take advantage of the situation is definitely going to be interesting. But I don't know if I like this play, because the factory has already been looted, and for now, VPH Velocity knows that Rev Aviolas is there, so that's going to be very tricky once you see Rev Aviolas really push.
Yeah, but it's a rotation that the team has to take, because if not, it's just the open space that they are running through, right? Running through compound to compound is going to provide them that very important cover, and DPH plays that to perfection. And it's good to see AV Crusaders not hanging around Fortunok too long. They back away into peak, but they find a few opportunities of kill. Equinox now, Zao almost shut down. Great plays with the blue walls, but AV Crusaders mow them down with Meow pulling out the double vector diffusal. Zonic trying to survive. 7 more HP with the shotgun. Zonic finds Mimark, and he's still on his feet with the shotgun. Will be able to find Tai as well. This monster so low on HP, but it doesn't really matter to him, and has got 9 of the medkit on him. So the revival, managing to top up his health here, is going to be possible, but survival is going to be tough. Bloody head hot on his heels. That's a GG.
Mark, yet again with the eagle eyes. You just don't get away from that guy. I thought he was going to be safe already, but then unfortunately for them, Mark is just a little bit too sharp with his snipes, and one of the best snipers in the game at the moment, and Bloody Heads is very lucky to have a guy like him to give you information and just to give you shots that will always land. I'm pretty curious like what his hit marker, what kind of ratio he has when it comes to hitting his shots. So taking a look at what we've seen here so far, Axis, this is a team that has been struggling just a little bit, and they are going up against Black Angels that has been performing so well here so far.
Oh no, and now on this bridge, there's just one way straight. If you jump off, you potentially might just knock yourself down. Axis, right in front of them, they have the players of Black Angel. Black Angel keeping a tight grouping. Axis, they have split apart one of their players way too far, right under the bridge. He will be able to crawl like a pro, but if he does not get there on time, it's going to be a very, very huge hurdle for the other players to overcome. Axis, Gal manages to knock Arparv on the ground. Arparv, he's amazing, but he needs to be close to his opponent. So they need to find a way to close this gap with all of those blue walls being.
Oh no, this is not looking good for both of these teams because it's anyone's game. It's really up to who has the most blue walls and try to push in. And it seems like we really want Axis to go in here. And here we go. Mr. Ong is actually going to be applying that pressure that they needed. Even though he was far away, this is the best situation because Black Angels is backed up quite literally by the walls. And that's the only protection that they can get. And everyone else from Axis can go and push in, especially with the assist of Mr. Ong.
This is a big fight for the players of Black Angel. If they can shut down Axis, they are nailing one of those teams to catch up in terms of those points, because we know exactly what they're aiming for, the top 12. But Black Angel, they are going to allow Axis just to walk away by the looks of it. Morgana found by Ritus, but Mark will be able to find a response. Picking up Janelle from the ground, VPH velocity, full squad. But here comes Mark. This is the pressure from Bloody Head. A quick nade opener. Maute trying to fight. Oh my lord! Ritus does not nail the grenade. Takes himself out of the equation. Mark will be able to find the kill and takes advantage of that misplay. Kaloi down on the ground. Harky trying to recover the situation. Tries to spray down the rest of the players, but Morgana's nade finds him out in the open. Janelle with the double vectors. He's outnumbered. Mark with his back turn will have no problems whatsoever because Maute is there for the backup, and what a cleanup by Bloody Head. And the third round of them performing potentially.
Mark with the clean shots, and I'm pretty sure Mark is short for marksman because of how well he can get his opponents from the end of his barrel. He does not miss his shot, and here we go. Axis going up against Black Angels yet again. It doesn't stop here. They keep trying to go in there, but you see here, it's just a back and forth. At this point, they need to go and have another kind of strategy. I actually thought that Mr. Ong being in the side of the road can actually apply a lot of pressure from Black Angels, but it seems like his angle isn't really enough for him. He should probably try to reposition himself and try to get a better angle against Black Angels.
Yeah, Black Angel, they have an option here to take that zip line back away from this situation, but, to risk getting sprayed down. And at the very same time, they need to execute a couple of plays from the side of Axis. So whoever who backs away from this place will be decoy and potentially risk being put out of commission for the rest of this matchup, because that is the only distraction Black Angel, I believe, can play in this spot to get away from Axis. Are they going to overcome this situation? At the same time, they're just running down this timer, making the side of Axis waste all of these bullets.
And speaking of running out of util as well, they're running out of glue balls, they're running out of bullets, but here we go, Nathan goes down, and you can see here from far away, even though that they're just bunched up together like that, it doesn't really matter. Finally, this is why they kept getting a lot of that loot already. You can see the blue lines just jotting straight up. They're basically ready to go in for the attack, and right now, Axis, with that information, knowing very well that they have so much utility at the moment, they need to back away, because they're not going to be winning that gunfight, knowing very well the grenade launcher is right below them.
Who is on that watchtower behind Black Angel? They have to watch their backs as well. And it looks like Axis might just have an upper hand in this fight, as Black Angel will be pressured in a couple of seconds. But what a play by Siasi. Just playing the timer really, really well, not pulling out the grenade launcher too early, catching them off guard with a knock followed by a quick kill. Now, Black Angel, as they focus in on Axis, Gal, just trying to get those scopes. Even if he gets a knock, he's not going to be able to capitalize on that. So I don't see the ideation from Axis getting away. But the flank from Mr. Ong, that's perfection. Now let's see how he executes it.
I feel like it could have been a little bit late because Nathan was already taken down, and it really was up to Mr. Ong to try and make a play for his team because he's the only one that's basically out of that trap. But I know he's probably doing the best that he can without being spotted by Black Angels. But I'm not sure if how many glue walls he actually has to have some sort of defense. But it's really up to him. And looking right now with the kind of trap that we can see here, especially with the circle closing in, he's the safest one right now. And for Black Angels, this is a free kill for them to get.
Absolutely, man. And Black Angel, they have got the zone. There's no reason to move at all. They can continue gatekeeping the rest of these players. Bloody Head, on the other hand, they want to shut down Reveolas and help out the rest of the teams in here. Pick up a few extra kill points for themselves. Why? For Ego Oblivion from getting in towards the next zone. Maisan finds 1-2 from afar. No kill coming through just yet. Just a knock just to keep the players of Reveolas a little busy. You wear down their utilities as well as Ego Oblivions get in towards the next zone. But they don't really have much of a compound to work with. They need to find a way to use the terrain, use all of those trees as cover, not waste a lot of blue balls, and get towards the middle of the circle. A little bit of a bigger and better defensive spot.
And here we go. It's actually really good that they have a vehicle that can go in and try to go in for a distraction against Bloody Head. So I feel like it's the best thing. Here we go, Mr. Ong yet again. Let's take a look at how he's going to be able to, perform here, especially with the shots that he can probably take. His angle is really nice, but for some reason, he's just having a really difficult time trying to get one member, because as soon as he gets one member down from Black Angels, they're just so quick to go in there for the first aid. But then that's a good thing, because it means they have to keep using their utilities, use all of the first aid, and by the end, when they have to go and push, they're basically, sucked out dry.
Yeah, and the biggest question here is whether or not a team, oh my goodness, Wade lying down on the ground. Prot WYS doing a lot here. If they can shut down Monkey Tribe, this might just be the perfect nail in the coffin to secure the rest of the teams 6 feet under as they step on them, using them as a stepping stone to get into the top 12 and stay there. Seika being pressured by the zone as well, and Shanks will be able to secure the kill on him. Finding Malte from afar. Blocky now, so much of pressure. Remember, this was the position held on by Monkey Tribe, which VPH punished them for. Hopefully, we don't see Trot WYS making that same mistake again.
And now they have 50 seconds left to work with, and they can definitely apply that pressure to Bloody Head, but they have made their presence known. And now Bloody Head knows very well that a lot of players are under that clock tower. That's going to be very tricky because they have to push in that direction where Bloody Head is at. So I'm pretty sure it's not the wisest thing to give shots away in that manner. And now they have to fly off. They need to go in there and push into the circle as 28 seconds left on the clock.
Well, Vindicators finally finding Mr. Ong, and Laurie going in for the pickup will be able to do so within the time turner. Smart plays coming through. Zyborg now just beyond, cooking up that nade. Is he going to be able to find that angle? Ong very low on that HP. Zyborg manages to hit Ong, and this is about it. The quick pickup coming through. Zyborg, oh my lord, overextends and Vindicators lose out.
What just happened? Wait, who took them out? Was it the zone? I wasn't able to see it, but I actually thought that it was just enough for them to get that one more kill, but that is just unfortunate to see. But now, let's take our eyes into what is happening inside of the zone right now. Let's take a look at what is going to happen against Bloody Heads, and also, we've been seeing this for the longest time today. It's Rep Aviolas versus Bloody Heads yet again. They keep going at it, they keep following each other, but who wins at the end, we're not quite sure, because as long as we see Bloody Head and Raviola still trying to go at it, they're going to be third party. And now with Mark going down, that's going to be very tricky because they don't have eyes, they don't have a sniper to work with.
Never did I ever think of a day where Trot WYS getting aggressive, but Flocky finds Malte as well. Mark initially taken down by a player of Trot WYS. Malte has been shut down as well. Mark's not going to be able to survive this as Trot WYS bring in the aggressive side of themselves. Oh my god! And Shanks now will be able to find Mark from afar. Wyatt finds Morgana. Bloody Head, one after the other. They lose their players. And now Kaloy, the final player from Bloody Head, with Henril Navi going in there for the chase. They will find him, shut him down. Now he gets the kill. Trot WYS with 9 kills in here so far. They're looking for the booyah. Can they find it? Jacob with the grenade launcher will be able to find Betty. And Raviolas gets bagged out of this situation. 2 more squads left in here. Ego Oblivion's going up against the one and only Trot WYS. Trot WYS trying to secure the top 12. Confirm it for themselves in the final game of the league stages for themselves.
4v4 situation here. Both teams looking very strong, and it's going to be very hard because Ego Oblivion is already out. One more time to push in there, one more time to make a difference and to have back-to-back wins. But with Clocky going in without the situation being into their favor, Mysan is going to be having a very hard time as he's the only one here, and he is going to be making a big difference. But no, it's not enough as they are eliminated. Here we go. Trot WYS with a back-to-back win secures another spot, and hopefully it is enough for them to stay in the 12.
It is exactly what they required, and it's exactly what they deliver. A back-to-back booyah from a desperate team who's trying to make it into the top 12. When we opened up the show beef, that's exactly what we focused on. That was the storyline in here, and they keep that storyline alive by showing, yes, oh yes, the fight for the #1 spot is alive, but we want to survive for ourselves. And that was the final game that they could play for themselves. We will be able to catch up with the overall leaderboards in a little bit. Let's just see exactly how much has Trot WYS actually done for themselves, right? And once again, back-to-back booyahs is insane for this squad.
I love it when a storyline that we predict before a game actually comes true. And it's just, these teams really work hard, and knowing very well that they need to light a fire up in them to just be part of the top 12. And definitely Trot WYS has performed so. And Rev Aviolas, yes, they have like more chances, and they definitely like did a lot better than a while ago with having those 0 points. But still, it's just, it might not be enough, but I'm very hopeful that they will deliver in the next 2 games that we have. But Trot did the best they could, and we saw that. And for a team to just deliver back-to-back wins, that is just a true testament of how good this team actually is.
For a team to deliver back-to-back booyahs whilst they have been struggling all throughout the competition, and D-Day, the final day to make the cut, I'm telling you, they remind me exactly of myself. I never used to study for exams. On the last day, I'll just be sitting down reading it. Somehow I score. I survived my whole school period like that.
I mean, we still need to study somehow, and I don't do that as well. I relate to you, AJ, and that's why I'm still in college after 8 years. So anyway, we are here to talk about the teams that have been doing so well, and I feel like they did their homework, okay? They didn't deliver in the first, few days, and they only delivered yesterday and today, but that's where it matters. You get to see where they really go and score and really just have a lot of points. But I really want to see what happened with Trot today, and just taking a look at the highlights, because they've been doing so well. And I think with Rev, always just trying to play catch up against Bloody Head just didn't really do them that good.
And for Trot WYS, it's just better late than never, right? I mean, it's the final day, the final hurrah for themselves. They need to earn this spot, and earn it they most definitely did. But it was the players of Raviolas just catching up with the rest of Equinox, and AB Crusaders as usual kind of bagging it out a little bit early. But the one team that I did not see to go down this quickly was VPH.
Yeah, VPH Velocity kind of struggled in here, especially going up against Bloody Heads, and I feel like Bloody Head really liked this, kind of dance that they have against VPH Velocity, because there's always like equal on the points, and it's really just who wins what kind of matchup. It's always usually VPH Velocity that has the last laugh, but you know what? Not today. Bloody Heads has been performing so well, and I feel like they're just going to be climbing up the ladder just a little bit. But with VPH Velocity having a little bit more games later on, is going to be a little bit hard on for, you know, Bloody Heads as well. So actually, another team that I've been keeping my eyes on as well is going to be Eagle Oblivion. They've been performing so well. I kind of want to see like how they've been performing in the last few days, because they've been entering at the very least top 6 every single game that they go.
Yeah, Ego Oblivions, if they are able to continue playing their best, it's going to be great. But, you know, in the final game in here for themselves from Group B, bagging 16 points, they have done more than good enough for themselves to make sure nobody, even Trot WYS or whosoever, will be able to kick them down into the 13th spot. But, you know, to catch up back with those who have struggled the most from the bottom to climb up to the top, Trot WYS securing the back-to-back Booyah. And this time round, unlike the previous round where they secured the Booyah but could not hold on to the number 1 spot because other teams got those kills, Trot WYS wanted to make a difference. They get that 11 kills for themselves, a 23-point craziness within this round. Bloody Head securing the 2nd spot for themselves. Once again, this was something very important for them because VPH Velocity has got 2 more matches to play in here, and Bloody Head really needed to secure a lot, and they did exactly that. And like you mentioned, and you had your eyes on Ego Oblivion's consistency. They rise up to the top. They want to play safe as well. Black Angels doing good for themselves, but just not enough against the one and only Trot WYS. And because they are in Group B, I believe that is the end of the road for them. Rebelliolus as well as Vindicators in that 5th and 6th spot with the 10 and 6 points.
Now, that is going to be very important points for Rev Aviolus, where they're just trying to scrap by because they got basically thrown out into the 12th spot, but they still have a chance. And this is a good start. 10 points. Like, obviously, you're trying to compare it to the 0 that they had a while ago. That is important points that can make a difference later on, especially knowing that they have 2 more matches where they can go and shine. So, going down the ladder here, Axis just going down every single time. This is a team that has been performing really well in the beginning, but now just struggling to get those points. Equinox, on the other hand, only just having 3 Monkey Tribe with 3 AV Crusaders with 2 VPH Velocity with a mere 2 points. That is just so surprising for me for them to go down a notch. But I feel like the one team here that I'm just keeping my eyes on is Monkey Tribe, because I feel like they did so well yesterday. They're just dropping the ball at the moment right now where they need to go and perform, because you have like teams like Ego Oblivion, you also have WYS to just perform well.
When your backs are against the wall, you perform like Trot WYS. Impressive stuff in here today. Map recap, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. When we opened up the day, it was Bloody Head that picked up the Booyah for themselves. AKO Ligers, they managed to strike in that 2nd matchup. In the 3rd game, it was Trot WYS that picked up the Booyah, but Bloody Head, the ones who were more hungry for those kills, they stole away that number 1 spot because of the crazy 13 kills that they secured within that round to equalize on the number of points. But Trot WYS, knowing that it's their final run in here for the league stages, they had to do a lot, and a lot they did by securing the Booyah for themselves as well as the 11th spot. So great, well done here by the squad Trot WYS. But of course, to take it from the top, Weight Esports, 418 points so far, 9 Booyah sitting down in the number 1 place, and they will be able to toy with the other squads in a little bit for matches 5 and 6 as Group A jumps back into the fray, along with a lot of the squads that you will see here in the top 7. AKO Ligers, Govilum Views, Eva Radicals, some of those squads. Bloody Head is a team that will not be able to perform any further, so they just have to watch out for VPH Velocity, and you know, catching up with these number of points not gonna be that difficult at all. Who's next in that 7th spot, and who's next most definitely has got the opportunity to play catch up in here. Vindicators as well as Equinox in the 8th and 9th place, and Vindicators, unfortunately, they will not be able to continue as Group B once again does not have any more matches to play for the debut.
And yeah, taking a look at the 10th spot, Ego Oblivion's pretty comfortable, I guess, in the 10th, but you can see Trot WYS, definitely their final game with that 208, is still not comfortable as well, because you have Axis that still has 2 more games, Rev Aviolas as well, still part of Group C, that can go and perform and basically have a complete 180, because 185 and 176, it's definitely very doable for them to get a lot of these points if they get a booyah, if they perform well, if they get those kills. It's still very much possible. But you're going into really shark-infested waters here from the 14th going down to the 70th spot. It's very hard for these teams to go and perform really well unless they do a back-to-back. It's not impossible because we've seen it happen already in the form of Trot WYS, where they were able to get a lot of these points, and that's the reason why they climbed up into the 11th spot.
Now we just look to teams like Axis, the team of Monkey Tribe, and Reviolas. It is going to be the fight between these 3 teams at the bottom. And of course, for the top, it's going to be between Vete Esports and AKO Ligers. It's tough to think that Go Willem Views will be able to fight for this spot because of the inconsistencies that have come out through the squad. But to think that Eva Radicals might still be in the run here, that's not too far away. And it doesn't sound like a crazy idea, right? Bloody Head Morgana picking up the MVP for himself this time around. This one is a crazy stat. Look at those numbers, Beef.
Taking a look at that hit rate, 79%. That's one of the highest we've seen here so far. 7 kills, 8 assists. That is just crazy numbers. And I've always looked at this person, right? Morgana has been an absolute beast ever since he made his way into Free Fire. Like, the whole time that we've been watching Bloody Heads, he's always been there to go and deliver and just clutch up every single moment. And we saw him go up against a whole squad a while ago, and Equinox couldn't just handle him just all by himself. So
Yeah.
again, Morgana very deserving to be MVP for Bloody Heads, and they're definitely bringing it to the table.
Definitely the star player for the side of Bloody Head. The second MVP title that he's managed to collect for himself within the league stages. And that just shows exactly how solid he is in terms of representation for the team, right? We usually see Morgana standing in the back lines. He's not like Mark. He's not the guy that opens up some of these fights, but he's most definitely the guy who finishes some of them off because he is the flanker. He is the one who is that support player, whilst the rest of his team gets crazy in these fights, right? But of course, when we look at Team Bloody Head, that's all we can expect from them because Group B is no longer in the fray. Now it's going to be an all-out battle between the top dogs and the bottom feeders. It's going to be crazy as we focus on both sides of the leaderboard for the final 2 matches.
Honestly, I'm excited for Monkey Tribe and Rev Aviolas try to make a play and be as desperate as what we saw a while ago from Trot WYS, because this is the last 2 matches where they can try to get into the top 12. And we keep reiterating that, we keep saying it because it's just that important for them. 1 point can make a difference. 1 rotation and 1 gunshot can make a difference between them and winning the prize into the very final matches and final stages in this competition. And now we are going into Purgatory, which is going to be very difficult because you see long range engagements here, and you're going up against Group A, where you see a lot of the top dogs know how to deal with the long range gunfights.
And, you know, some of the teams, they can find a way to wrap things around. But the problem with some of these bigger squads is they not only have it perfected in terms of the long-range engagements, even the close quarters combat seems to be absolutely untouchable, right? You look at teams like Eva Radicals, Vete Esports, just all-rounders. Now, AV Crusaders, in an unfortunate situation, it does not seem like the likelihood of them taking VPH Velocity down very early on at Ski Lodge is there. VPH preying on them, picking up 4 early kill points on the other hand, most definitely a situation I see happening. Unless, of course, there can be one last stand, one final hurrah by AV Crusaders.
AV Crusaders really likes to go down into Ski Lodge, and I'm not quite sure if it's a really good position for them. them, especially going up against a giant that is VPH Velocity. But speaking of a giant, Eva Radicals really want to go and overthrow the Kings right now, who is going to be right on top of them. But you know what? It doesn't really matter because these boys definitely know how to deal under pressure. So now that they're going up against another team that really wants to prove themselves, Rev Aviolas might be in a little bit of a hard time right now. As you can see here, Barba taking some shots as Blake just having a hard time. The tree not doing him any favors.
From the far now, the knock will turn into a kill for the side of Fura as Eva Radicals find Reviolas. And Reviolas, they do not want to have anything to do with Eva Radicals. They know the difference in capabilities. They know the difference in the mechanical abilities of the engagement style for both of their own squad as well as their opponents, and they hightail it out of there. AV Crusaders surprisingly moving towards BPA. Meow finding a shot out in the open. My lord, just because he had one time turner on him, but now time turner on cooldown. Guy doesn't have a glue wall. GG, bro.
That is just so difficult to put yourself in there. Not only that, Morris going down, the only person that can go and give him assist. And there you go. He does go down just a little bit. Meow, on the other hand, still alive somehow. And you can see here, Eva Radicals trying to go in there for the third party as well. You can see here, VPH Velocity might be in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, Thanabo manages to catch Paythan as well, but another time turner pulled out, and time turner almost cracked, but the timer just will be enough for them to get that pickup, and VPH, they recover their position. AV Crusaders, Meow, still in a situation where he can lend a little bit of help to the players of Eva Radicals, but Meow instead knocks Thanabo down onto the ground. What sort of a predicament? Eva Radicals! Meow! Will be able to kill Thanabo off, and AV Crusaders, although they are prey and although Meow it was in the most unfortunate situation between two great squads, what a kill!
Can I just say, AV Crusaders is the luckiest team at the moment with basically a blessing from the skies in the form of Eva Radicals just stopping the push from VPH Velocity. Not only that, able to get a kill as well, where you thought it was going to be an absolute squab fight. The timing is just absolutely perfect. And taking a look at what we have right now, speaking of timing, Will going in very aggressively, going against a team like Axis, where Axis needs to get every single point for them to go and move on, but Wills is going to give him a very hard time to do so.
Yeah, the Fuse squad, they are looking to climb up extra bonus 25,000 pesos, and they also don't want to lose into Eva Radicals, right? Because they also lose a lot of pesos if they drop one spot. Mr. Ong shut down. Axis, they won't be able to find Wiz. WizKid, a lot of trouble now. Are they going to be able to find a pickup? Nathan under a lot of pressure. Santino finds him in the nick of time. Nathan sprayed down and weaves Santino. He manages to cover the situation, but now look at this. Monkey Drive. They hear those gunshots from afar, and they come to pick up the final pieces of Go With Abuse.
And this is what they need to do. Axis is finally eliminated, but Monkey, they're going to be right beside him. But Wills is in a really good spot right now, so Shino gets healed, so that's a really good thing. And now Monkey Tribe needs to go and see if they can take this gunfight on, knowing very well that Wills is going to be in a very, nice spot to be in. But hopefully, Monkey Tribe knows how to read the situation well and looks like they are going to be engaging. So far, they don't really know what is going to happen yet. They're still trying to read the situation, but we're going to be seeing that later on. And so far, AV... Okay, we're going back here. Very good. Thank you, Observer, because taking a look at who's right beside them as well, New Gen seems like they want a piece of the pie.
New Gen. Are they going to react first and give the momentum to Go Willem Views? Because this is what Go Willem Views needs, a little bit of distraction from the back so that Monkey Tribe's players can be, distracted and they get to deal with a two-fight first. They've got the numbers advantage and then take Wait Lang out of the equation. And look at this, as the shots will be fired by the players of Go Willem Views, opening up that engagement first off. Miracle knockdown onto the ground. Wait Lang trying to help his team member, but that's not going to be possible. And Pan now getting caught out in the open. Seika as well pulls out the camouflage. Monkey Tribe under a lot of pressure. Pan manages to get away as well as New Gen. This was the pressure that I was talking about, and it happens. Go Willem Views, they will be able to recover because the gods of RNG have sent them help in the form of New Gen.
but this is not going to be looking good. As you can see here, the zone is going to be closing out, and everyone else is going to be far away from the zone. So all these three teams, it's up to them. I feel like for New Gen, back away, because this is not a fight that you're going to be winning, especially going up against Monkey Tribe and Wives as well. So they need to go back away and try to reposition themselves into the zone where they can fight another day, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be doing so. Monkey Tribe tries to back away from the situation, and Will's good read to just go away, not wanting to be, you know, caught up against the crossfire of these two teams.
Yeah, you need to look at the rotation of safe zone, and you need to play your placements really well. Janelle, Ritus as well, finding that elevation on that roof, managing to shut down the players of Reveiolas. And unfortunately, Reveiolas, as they struggle to find the 12th spot from the 13th position that they hold on to right now, they will continue struggling.
Here we go, Monkey Tribe. They're going to be having a hard time because the zone is going to be doing its thing, and as well as New G, they need to go and reposition themselves. New Gen has the opportunity to move away from this fight, but they want to go and have it because they just want the point down. But I don't think this is the best situation to go and get, especially knowing very well that the zone is going to get you. But yes, it's not going to be dealing a lot of damage, but they might pay the price. But here we go. Finally, the push coming in from the side of New Gen. Monkey Tribe is in a hard time as Seka is going to be taking some shots. But then there he goes. Seka goes down, and this is what we need to see from New Gen. They finally decided that they wanted to commit to getting a lot of these kills right now from Monkey Tribe. But Reagan is going to be having a hard time because he does go down. But then it just pays off for them because little by little they do get the points down.
And throughout this whole thing, the biggest winners overall is Gobilum Views. They survived a sandwich situation, and they've just backed out of that. They had to fight two teams, but now the rematch between AKO and Vete Esports. Vete Esports, they have got the position here playing the trade to the advantage. Will be able to find Jaboiwa Daymoon with all of that pressure, and if they can shut down Jaboiwa early here. And look at the early rotation coming in from Cheers. He wants to make sure Jaboiwa has got a little bit of cover if anything happens to him, if he gets knocked down onto the ground. And that's perfection from the side of AKO in terms of taking some of these gunfights that we've seen so many times across the days.
AKO just needs to sit there and hang tight and not really over push, which is they're doing a good job. But at the moment, Vete Esports really applying that pressure, knowing very well that they need to go and push up. But AKO not going to be falling for that trap. But there you go, you get to see that pressure being returned to them as well.
And now, AKO, this is a big fight because they are aiming for that bonus of 25,000 pesos. If they can shut down the apex predators of the competition, if they can take out those who hold on to that #1 spot, they will be able to replace them. Let's go now on the ground. Hey, another nade coming out. Bye-bye, let's go. And now, they're looking for McRory as well. Daymoon on the left-hand side. Toby, super aggressive. 13 glue walls on his side. And you know exactly why AKO will be super aggressive. Getting into the danger zone as well. Kanoho, just absolutely no respect at all for the danger zone. Daymoon right in front of him, and they are on the hunt. How often do you see Vete Esports being chased after? One nade being cooked up now. Kanoho from the left-hand side, and he gets Daymoon on the ground. Bye-bye, sir. Vete Esports hunted to perfection, and AKO the Predators.
This is such a beautiful play from AKO. It's just all up to Captain McRory to go and make a difference. But then it's not going to be easy for him. As you see here, the vehicle almost exploding. The timing just not on his side. And he needs to apply that pressure from all of these teams. He needs to go away, probably get one more kill. And you know he can win those 1v1s, but with just a little bit of HP left, he needs to go and heal up first before trying to go in engagement. And possibly even win the 1v3, but it's not going to be likely because AKO is on a rampage.
Yeah, and AKO just playing this smartly, that player not over-aggressing, respecting McRory, respecting Vete Esports, and McRory with his mechanical capability being able to get away, but 8 more HP in that. Cheers with the double vectors, the numbers were too many, and AKO, they shut down the players that they are trying to catch up with. And in this match itself, can they grab that #1 spot? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a lot needs to be done. They need to secure a massive round if that is their wish. And now I don't think it is impossible.
That was a devastating blow to Vete, and for them to be out this early, it just proves that how well AKO is just to basically overthrow the Giants. And you can see here, another giant as well, VPH Velocity trying to make a name for themselves, going up against Equinox but it's going to be very tricky because they don't have a lot of covered healing as well. So it's really anyone's game here who can take the best shots. And now we can see Janelle trying to see if he can go get one more, but it's a good thing that we can see here they just go away. So I think in this situation we can see Equinox, they should probably go away because you can see that VPH Velocity has the upper hand.
VPH Velocity, they have got quite a compound to work with, and in front of them lots of trees that Equinox just used to find cover behind. They do not have a vehicle on their side. As we jump on over back to AKO, they play the game of information, send out the drone, and 4 kills in their hand so far. They are most definitely not looking to over-aggress. They need 24 points to catch up in Beta Esports, 25 points to make sure they are in the #1 place. And in order to do that, they need to finish this game off with a booyah as well as 13 kills. The target is there. AKO, they've done the math. Let's see if they can now pull it off out there on the battlefield. Once again, this fight between VPH as well as Equinox. Equinox not really having a great compound to work with, but they're not really aggressing. They're not really backing away. They're staying put, waiting to see what VPH has in store for them.
And now VPH is just staying here. It's a good thing. They get to have a drone up as well, so that's extra safety on their end. And now we're seeing AKO Ligers trying to go into basically find cover into a final circle where you know it's going to be very tricky because there's literally nowhere you can go and hide, and maybe Forge is a good place, and they're trying to position themselves. If the final circle is going to be in Forge, they're going to be close enough, but no, they're in a prime position where they can go and take out Wills and also gatekeep one more team that's going to be right behind them.
AKO just smack dab close towards the middle of the next safe zone. They don't really have to travel that much, and they will be able to gatekeep as well. What a great position to be blessed with if you are looking to end the game with a booyah as well as a massive number of kills. But they have to be careful because right in front of them, the players of Golden Views, who have secured quite a great position for themselves as well. A lot of that compound to play with. They've got the elevation, but Golden Views just need to make sure they're not caught out in the open. Winda pulls out the time turner of all things, but that was just unfortunate. Yeah, boy jumps right in, sprays him down with the double vectors.
And here we go. It's going to be New Gen trying to go inside the circle, but then guess what? Who's going to greet them? Wills is right there, and they're in really good position. The tower going to offer some support where you know that they're going to be, you know, they're going to have a good time there. And I know I'm not really that big of a fan of staying into that tower, especially if you leave every one of your teammates in there because it takes one grenade to take you out. But it's a good thing that Wills spread out. They have a bunch of men in the ground as well. So that's good to have. And New Gen having one person down, but you need to worry about another team with Equinox applying that pressure to them. So right now, they just need to stand back and let Equinox go and fight Wills.
Yeah, boy just oversteps his boundary. Mikey gets caught out in the open. Sneaks the kill on him. Yeah, boy finds Sneaks. Can he get the kill? Yeah, boy gets the kill. Double vectors on the shutdown. But yeah, boy overextends, and I do not know where he was going with that play, but I think his vehicle kind of exploded out there on the battlefield, and he made the best out of that situation. But what a way to give the momentum over to AKO once again by hurting Go Willem Views, one of the teams that are in prime position to fight with AKO for the booyah.
There's just too many teams trying to go in for the kill with Wills, but taking a look at that, Wills takes down Zao, so that's one down. All he needs to do is just finish the job, and there you go, finally gets to have that kill. And now they're still at the prime position where they can go and push inside the circle, but at the same time be gatekeepers as well to 2 other teams. AKO Lagos, on the other hand, at the very opposite end, tries to do the same thing. And now we need to see New Gen try to come up with a way to go and rotate where they can't be seen by Wills, and hopefully go and rotate safely into the zone.
Toby Yadov now on the ground. AKO finding those kills. Hawkeye will be able to find a killer. Great play by Who's Next. Eva Radicals thinned down as well. Perfect position once again for AKO to pick up that booyah. Managed to close in the gap between themselves as well as Beta Esports, who they themselves personally took out within this lobby. VPH Velocity still alive and kicking. Just make sure that AKO cannot rest easy. yet. Reagan being caught out in the open, and Balore will be able to find him. Once again, Gobilam Views have got a great spot here, but in a couple of seconds, things might change. And very, very specifically, once that zone now closes in, they have to find a different spot for them. But for the time being, they are just making the best out of this, gatekeeping everyone and picking those kills.
Not only gatekeeping, they have the height advantages as well. So what can happen with them is that once the zone does close and they know where to go next, they can just try to hold back just a little bit. They can spend some time outside of the zone and try to get everyone else where, you know, you can see here who's next, taking a lot of these shots against VPH Velocity, but then VPH wins that gunfight, and now they're pushing in. And now this is where we get to see Wills really shine, because not only are they near inside the next zone, they can gatekeep everyone from outside of the zone because they have such a good vantage point, take them out from afar, and really just have a lot of these points, and after that, push out.
All of these teams now being demanded to move. AKO stealing away all of those kills from the side of VPH that most definitely would have annoyed the players of VPH Velocity as they look for the next zone. They have to stay focused as to play the placement points for themselves. Gobilam Views in prime position to catch up with AKO Ligers as well. And although it is a tall mountain to climb, a huge ask of them, they still push on forth with the confidence within their hearts. And now Embalori with all of those shots, maintaining their position. Mima right above them might be able to drop a couple of nades on Gobilam Views. What a unfortunate situation that would be if he actually manages to find someone, because they have to deal with VPH Velocity in front of them. But AB Crusaders, Mima taken down by Sentino, and this is what makes Gobilam Views so dangerous. Ritu's now in front of them. Phaeton double nades out by Embalore. Toby manages to find Barba as Eva Radicals is put out in that fourth spot. Gobilam Views pressure by the zone now as they fight off against VPH. Phaeton finds Wiz with the grenade launcher. One more pump and Embalore right in front. Phaeton finds him. The finisher might come through. Only one more grenade in Phaeton's hand.
Here we go, VPH Velocity versus AKO Ligers, a team that has been doing so well, but then it's going to be very hard because they still have a full stack versus more, and Phaeton is the only person left with that kill, but then it doesn't really do much for him. As we can see here, AKO Ligers, they are mad. They want to get that top spot, and they have done enough to possibly overcome Vete Esports, especially going up against them so early on the matchup, winning those kills, winning those gunfights. Here, Vete, they are gonna have a hard time into our last match of the day.
And with that booyah, it just looks like Vete Esports are now just one booyah behind the record set by AKO Ligers are just one booyah behind Vete Esports in terms of the record set, right? They needed 24 points, and I don't know exactly how many kills they ended that round with, but it most definitely is close. And with one more matchup in here, AKO, even if they just play purely for placement points and that booyah without focusing on the kills, I think they have earned themselves the 25,000 peso bonus.
I mean, it's a very interesting conversation too, because Vete Esports can definitely pop off in the next round as well. So
Yeah.
It's anyone's ball game. And really, going into that double win right now for AKO Ligers, that is going to be very hard to top, especially once you have a momentum down. And what
Yeah.
we've seen so far with Vete Esports, they're kind of dropping off right now at the very end. And the reason why, we're not quite sure. They've been overly aggressive, where they could have gotten a lot of points into our first round, but they choose to have a different strategy, which they probably thought would pull off and pay off at the very end. But unfortunately for them, AKO Ligers is just a little bit too good for them today.
And that's exactly how it is in the Battle Royales, right? Sometimes you gotta play your homework right, but, you know, the gods of RNG throw a few of those challenges in your way. And it was, you know, just moments like this back to back that even Gobilam Views kind of showed us that you really got to count on and play on your luck sometimes. If it gives you the opportunity to back away from a fight early on, you got to back away from that situation, because the placement points are worth a lot, especially at the tail end of our competition. We are on the final day of the league stages. In fact, we are now up beyond, looking forward to the final match of the whole of the league stages. So everything on the table, you really gotta play it safe and take those engagements in that final circle if it actually means a lot to you. I mean, if you are a team like Axis, who was just balancing in that 12 spot early on, you don't really want to lose out to Reviolas. You really need to hit hard.
Exactly, you need to hit hard, and Rev Aviolas hasn't been hitting hard. They've been padding patting every single one of the teams. And you can see here, Trot WIS absolutely smashing it with that double win. And now you need to have one more game to make a difference with you being in the competition on February 6th in our finals, and for you even just having that cash prize. So we need to see Axis perform as well, because if they get overthrown by Rev Aviolas, that is going to be very difficult for them as well, because they dropped off so much into the game that it's just so unfortunate to see for them to, you know, really drop off. But taking a look at the highlights, because I really want to see what went down between VT Esports and also, you know, AKO Ligers, because it was crazy.
Yeah, in this matchup, it was Axis trying to survive, go with a Muse, but this time round, as we talked about them, they were in the 12th spot the last time we looked at their position, and getting taken out so early on, leaving Reviolas with the opportunity to catch up. Most definitely not something that Axis had in plan, but it was the situation they ended up with. And go with a Muse, they had an opportunity to back away from that compound later on, as Monkey Tribe as well as New Gen arrived. And with the arrival of New Gen, Monkey Tribe just could not go in there with the pressure, and New Gen, they overcame the situation very, very methodically and bagged the best of it.
And it's a good thing that they chose to commit to going into Monkey Tribe, because they could have just went away, kind of like what Wolves did, and Monkey Tribe could have seen another day. But for New Gen, they really just wanted to get all of those points, and that points will definitely rack up for them. But now, a team like Wolves is definitely so impressive, because their positioning was just absolutely prime. They were making the most out of the situation that they had, but unfortunately for them, it was just a little bit too much, especially going up against VPH Velocity and AKO Ligers as well, having like a full stack of their team going into the final circle.
It was a opportunity for Phaeton to finish things off for BPH Velocity, but as things have, oh my goodness, AKO Ligers, they needed 24 points and they secured 23, and with Paytay Esports getting 2 for them, they overall just make this 21 points catching up. So that just means if they secure 4 more points, they will be in the clear in that #1 spot. Things are getting heated up as we step on into match number 6. Govilam View securing 18 points for themselves to make sure that Eva Radicals doesn't catch up, and they want to keep that 3rd spot for themselves. VPH Velocity, they managed to get the 3rd spot with 17 points. Eva Radicals only managing to secure 11 this time round, 7 out of the placements and 4 kills only for a team that was, started off super aggressive. They have eased off on those kills just a little bit. New Gen, they continue with their momentum in the competition, being able to find points for themselves, both through placements as well as kills. 8 points this time round. AV Crusaders putting themselves up top as well. When their backs are up against the wall, it looks like these teams really chug it out.
Exactly, and AV Crusaders, it was just that one person that made a huge difference. He was on top of that hill, but unfortunately for him, he made a little bit too much noise, and Wills just absolutely crushed him. But he did enough to get into, that spot where they can get 6 points, 6 essential placement points. And now right below them, Equinox having that 5. Who's next with the 5 as well? And you can see here, it's Monkey Tribe and VT Esports having that 2, Rev Aviolas and Axis having that 0. Now, I want to talk about VT Esports. Now, I feel like I've noticed from them, if they get overly aggressive in the first half, in the not in the late game, that's where they falter. And you can see teams like AKO Ligers, VPH Velocity, and also Eva Radicals that absolutely shine into the early game. If they apply that pressure into a team like VT Esports, they can't do much. If you stop VT Esports early, because they usually don't win those engagements, that's how you can take them down. And now for VT Esports, are you going to let a team like AKO Ligers, who has been trying to catch up with you and now they are at arm's reach, they need to play it safe, like what they've been doing in day number 4, day number 5, and even yesterday into our, I think, match number 5, where they took it slow. Finally, slowly approaching into that final circle where they absolutely go guns a-blazing.
And AKO Ligers, on the other hand, need to do the exact same thing. They shouldn't aggress. They shouldn't be looking for kills. They don't need to sandbag themselves. They just need to play the safest round that they have ever played before, secure the booyah, potentially not be able to pick up even any kills at all. Okay, obviously, if you want the Booyah, you need to have at least one kill. The final guy in the circle, maybe, you know. But you know, that will be more than enough as long as VJ Esports are not in that final circle. Together with them securing a massive amount of kills, they should be a-okay for picking up that #1 spot in the league stages. And that would just be a momentous occasion for AKO Ligers, because it's not just been a one-day journey for them to reach up to the top. They've never been able to hold on to that #1 spot, and to secure it on the very last day when it means the most, that's mind-blowing.
And I feel like I'm definitely going to be seeing Beta Esports and also AV Ligers in the final circle. Please let it happen. I just want to see that showdown goes down. You only have a few points in between them, and it's just like, you know, a picturesque finish for them to fight each other at the very end. I'm really manifesting that. The last two teams should be Beta Esports as well as, you know, AKO Ligers. But we are taking a look at where they're going to be dropping off, because this is probably one of the most essential things to see. Are you going to go into the same spot where you always go, be predictable, or are you going to be going down in a different spot? But Beta Esports looks like they want to go to Shipyard yet again, where they're very comfortable at dropping. And you can see here, AKO as well goes in there in the same spot, but a little bit more spread out.
I don't like this, man. Beta Esports, Comfort, and the players who are beside them, Eva Radical. Yeah, boy, this was the guy earlier on that managed to find the damage onto Tanamo and very early on hurt the players of Eva Radicals. And this time, Meow finds the first blood. And that just is a great sign for AV Crusaders. Not a lot in this competition for us to look forward to for this squad, but in terms of the improvement of how we saw them day one versus now in the final day of the league stages, they have definitely grown.
Exactly, and for them to have that confidence going in here, knowing very well that they're not going to make it into that top 12, is really refreshing to see, and probably should have that mindset going into later games where you can be a little bit rigid. Obviously, it's a competition, you're playing for money, and for us to see the growth that they've had here, they can definitely bring that confidence into the next tournaments as well, and have this as a really good learning experience. And now, Equinox really just pushing away, far away from AV Crusaders, not wanting to engage in that fight, knowing very well that they're going to be losing that, but AV Crusaders going in there for the catch-up as well.
As AV Crusaders, they move from cover to cover, very carefully looking for the players of Equinox. Equinox do the exact same thing, pull off the exact same maneuver as they back away from this compound. But now, Equinox, wide out in the open. The moment AV Crusaders aggress and stop playing possum and go out there aggressively, they should be able to find the players of Equinox. But because AV Crusaders are being careful here, they will not be able to find the jump on them. And now, in a surprising turn of events, Equinox actually doubling back. They want to turn around and find. They want to pick a fight with the players of AV.
This is going to be very difficult because both of these teams don't really have much util left to go in there for a fight. But Equinox, I feel like it's not a really good spot to be in, because you can see that AV Crusaders definitely has the upper hand of having a lot of cover for them, but Equinox not having cover plus being one person down, that is not going to be a very good situation to be in. They probably should have just kept going, and just like that, Meow gets that kill. Xenix going down, and see, Equinox, you need to find a better position. You need to play it right and decide whether or not you want to if you want to go in for the push, right? They were pretty good. It was a good shot to go out in their way to try to get rid of AV Crusaders, but for some reason they just stopped and decided, you know what, we're gonna be going up against it even though we're at a worse spot. But you can see here, Diffusal not looking too good. As you can see here, it's gonna be Morris that has a really good spot on them.
Morris, and now as AV has just taken a little bit too much of time in here, squad approaches Diffusal, just holds on to that angle a little bit too long. Mima almost takes him down, and now he gets found again. Mima time turner pulled out. Mima not able to respond in the nick of time, and the double vectors manages to get Diffusal the kill. What a huge turn of events now as Diffusal gets his compound overrun. 3 players from the side of AV coming in for the finisher, and Red Violas, they hear this loud and clear from the back. Morris will be able to find Diffusal. Equinox loses another player, and Red Violas, they come in here. They are looking for some kills. They want the 12th spot.
Just like sharks that smell a drop of blood into the water, you can see here Revaiolas really wanting to get those kills. And this is the moment that they've been waiting for, especially that AV Crusaders is down one person. Not only that, they have a really good advantage in having that height, but it's all up to one person. And I think that's going to be the one that can go and make the shot call. All they need to do is win all of these long-range engagements. Not only that, push in as well. But just as the plot is going to be thickening, because you can see AV Crusaders are going to be inside the zone, and we are going to see Rev just push in, just to go in there, even though it's 33 seconds left.
Oh my lord, Paythan lost very early on. New Gen hits once again. This time Huinda fires off the first one to get the kill from his squad. VPH coming in here with a little bit more firepower. Binatha making his way straight in. Janelle, the double vectors. New Gen, are they going to stay and fight? Huinda actually aggresses on fourth. And Nate being cooked up as well by his team member. They go in there for the Bob. Smiley with the long flank around, trying to catch Binatha, but Rikus will be able to fire right back. And Smiley knocked down onto the ground. But just before that, Smiley did manage to find Binatha. So that was a good trade coming through. Mikey, Winda from up top. Oh my lord, VPH Velocity eats his bullets. And New Gen, they survive with all 4 players.
New Gen is the giant killer. How many times did this team see a very amazing and well-talented team and bring them out just like that? And here we go. AV Crusaders, another team that needs to go in there for the push. But you can see Morris in a very great spot where he can go and take down, give that information to his team. Chai goes down as well. All of them now in Morris to try and go and make a difference here.
And Morris, final player left. The Revaiolas, they bag AV Crusaders out of that, and 1-2 gets picked right back up. Revaiolas, they heard all of those opportunities through the gunshots loud and clear, and they set up this flank superbly. They were in a position to lose this at the initial get-go as 1-2 got dropped, but it was the flank that just managed to sustain that fight overall for them. Eva Radicals back in a way, finding the players off Govilum views, and it looks like they will be able to gatekeep them as well as shut them down perhaps before they make their way in towards the next circle. But New Gen might just be able to give Govilum views the advantage that they need by being the third party in the situation. Fura spotting out sneaks outside of the zone, trigger discipline, waiting for that opportunity. When will he be able to get a clear line of sight to get that knock as well as that kill? And Fura, as he plays all of that momentum, maintaining his position inside of the zone. And now Sneaks can see Fura. Fura can see Sneaks. Both not firing at each other just yet. Aguilar, he takes that opportunity to cut that distance. And now Aguilar stops right in front of Sneaks. Sneaks gets knocked down by the safe zone. Aguilar will not be able to find the kill because he's just right outside of his time turner. He doesn't want to die as well, get knocked down onto the ground, and therefore he will be able to recover himself. Aguilar does not get the kill. Fura will finally be able to shut down Sneaks, and Eva Radicals, they are on the hunt for Govilum views.
And that was a really good play right now from Aguila, just trying to go in there for the aggression. Fura finally does the job, and that was a really good time turner. He was like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to finish you off. I'm going to basically save myself first. And that was a really good play. And now we can see Wills a little bit in shambles. As you can see that they are a little bit spread out too thin. And Tamamo finally getting one more. And Valor goes down, a very essential player for Wills. And Tanamo needs to get one more. Who's going to be right beside him? 2 more players left for Wills to try and go in there. But you can see they basically have it down. They got 3 players up against Wiz and 1 more player trying to get 1 more against Wiz.
Barba, can he find the kill? Oh, spots Wiz. Wiz not playing the cameras yet. And now the backstab by Barba. Wiz trying to get that position, but unfortunately sprayed down onto the ground. Fura gets that kill. Govilum View still alive and kicking. Another player is off screen, but not down just yet.
Yeah, we also have like 1 player going up against that 1 member left from Wales. Not quite sure who that member is quite yet, but it's going to be very impressive because they were like, you know what, let's get rid of Wales right now and let's have 1 person try to catch that 1 last player from Wales. This circle is not going to hurt just yet because, you know, getting a lot of these shots down. And finally, Aguila finishes the job and Govilum Wills into that 10th spot, says bye-bye. That's not going to be good for them in terms of placement points. But Eva Radical is doing an amazing job, even though they're outside of the zone. No one is going to expect them because of how deep they are into the zone where they have to go and push in.
And this is how crazy the fight is for each and every single rank here, because every single time you step up on that rank, you get a little bit of that bonus in terms of prize pool, Eber Radicals not wanting to finish off in that 4th spot. They want to catch up with Go Willem Views. And, there are a few points between them. Earlier on, when we took a look, it was just 1 point. And then after that previous matchup, Go Willem Views managed to increase the disparity by another 7. So as long as Eber Radicals can end this game with 8 points more than Go Willem Views, that's about it. They will secure the 3rd spot for themselves. So much happening on the final day, and it's crazy to see, the leaderboards being shuffled up and down even at this point, because, we've gotten into situations where by now the top 3, top 4 doesn't really change that much.
And really seeing that circle from afar, you get to see a perspective that not all of these players can see, right? And it's just so easy to see that Beta Esports is probably going to get backstabbed by Eber Radicals if they choose to go into the same direction that they were going to a while ago. It's going to be exciting because I think the only team that can stop Beta Esports at the moment, surprisingly, could be New Gen if they see them, if they're really quite far away from them. And also Eber Radicals can go in there for the backstab as well. So now Rev Aviolas not going in there wanting to engage here with a fight against, Monkey Tribe and New Gen as well. You can see here shots being taken as well from AKO Ligers trying to go in there for another kill. It's a good thing they do so. So they're so smart in their engagement. They're not trying to be, overly aggressive, but take a look who's right beside them. It's Beta Esports. Who's going to be hanging back? Who's going to be passive?
And Monkey Tribe wanting to shut down the players of New Gen. Reagan and Smiley taken out already. Reveyolas want to stick their noses in here. And now Miracle, the only final player left in here. Quinda coming in for that finisher. Not going to be able to find them. One glue wall. Second one taken down. Miracle getting sprayed him. No, Quinda, the savior for New Gen, not allowing the rest of his team members to get taken down. And now Reveyolas with the final opportunity to bag these 2 kills off of Quinda as well as Mikey. Can they find it? One more grenade in his hands. He does not strike just yet. Chooses the wrong window. Gets the bounce off of that vertical as well. And he will not make the best use of the grenade. But in terms of the numbers that Reveyolas has in this situation, they have the advantage.
New Gen is so good right now. They are just basically having their doors open and Reveyolas going in there, but the trap might ensue. It's a good thing that Reveyolas not really going up there, knowing very well that if they do 1 by 1, it's not going to work out for them. So the best that they can do is throw some grenades, but unfortunately for them, they just don't land. And with Benny getting a lot of shots and being down eventually, that is just going to be so hard. But it's a good thing his teammate is right there for the pickup.
Yeah, good stuff coming out of Reveyolas. Now nobody wants to step up to the 2nd floor. Quite honestly, they don't have to aggress. They have the zone. They've got the time to play. They just need to see what's the play from New Gen before they go in for the strike. Benny now recovering his HP. He has the shotgun in hand. They just need to storm the front of these players. But as we look at the overall view of that map, players of Eber Radicals rotating in danger zone above the players of AKO. They don't have anybody else in their compound except Axis, who will be sneaking in ever so shortly. Beta Esports in front of them. This is turning into a face circle.
You're absolutely right. Taking a look right now, finally going in there after being outside of the zone for so long, and finally, Reveyolas going up there and New Gen eliminated. This is the moment that Rev Aviolas has been waiting for, the points that they desperately needed to get. They're finally pulling through. 6 kills already. That is 6 points that is done, dusted. All they need to do is to place high enough and get a lot of kills as well. What they need to do right now, sit back, because everyone else in the zone, they're probably going to wait for a moment where 2 teams are going to be battling out. And speaking of, it's going to be Beta Esports versus Radicals, where Forbes is finally going down. Even Radicals going in there for the push, but unfortunately for them, Daymoon goes down as well, and we finally have a new kill leader. But Beta is just going to be having a hard time here, especially that they don't have as much cover.
Oh yeah, and AKO, they just be rejoicing in the back that 2 of the titans of the squad's taking each other on, and they don't have to do anything at all. And in fact, those players are running straight towards AKO, and AKO will be able to deliver some shots as backup. Reviola's chipping in as well, trying to play pressure on Bayday Esports as well as Eva Radicals. They don't care who they find in their crosshairs. They just want kills with the 6 kills on board so far. Aguila just playing the momentum around the field, getting all of that information with his vehicle. Let's Go gets caught on the tail end. Benny with a lot of pressure. McRory repositions himself, but not in the distance to take any grenade shots at these players of Reviola's. And now they have to play possum, wait and see exactly what happens as Eva Radicals wraps around that left-hand side. And now Reviola's might just be sandwiched between two very, very good squads.
This is the best situation that AKO Laggers can ask for because they can gatekeep who's next. Not only that, everyone else inside the circle, those 3 squads trying to battle it out, are basically distracted and won't know that AKO Laggers is right there for them. And now we can see here, they pretty much know that who's next is a little bit weak. So they're preying on them kind of like a wounded gazelle. And Hawkeye needs to go in there, hide some more. As you can see, the Apex Predator finally going up in the air. But speaking of a Predator that has been really good here so far, Rev Aviolas has been performing really, really well.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And Reviola's, they are looking for the 12th spot. And in the previous matchup, they didn't do well, but the blessing in disguise was Axis didn't do well as well. And therefore, in this particular matchup, as long as they can get 9 points more than Axis, they will kick Axis down into the 13th position, secure the 12th spot for themselves. So it's a lot for Reviola's to fight for. Hopefully they can find that play in here for themselves. Axis still alive and kicking, not wanting to give the win away to Reviola's. If you are going to go down, we don't mind. But if you're alive, there's no way in hell we are going to get taken down way too early. Axis as well as Reviola's showing the exact same confidence as well as the plays in terms of strategies in here. And AKO now uncomfortable beside Bayday Esports.
But this is such a good position right now because there's only 2 players left from Bayday Esports. But having McRory and Let's Go, that is going to be a very important point for them. But for them to just have 0 points, 0 kills, that is very unlike them. And AKO can smell blood from the water right now, and you can see they're applying that pressure to them. But it's going to be very tricky as there's 2 left in their team where they need to just play for placement points because at this point, AKO Laggers has a lot more kills and they can just play for placement and be a little bit more passive. But no, they want to get those kills and really just get rid of Bayday Esports.
McRory barricades all of the windows right in front of him. Wyatt from the other side, Reviola's. But Fura finds Benny with the grenade. It's not just all grenades galore. AKO taking the fight up against Bayday Esports. The ones that they want to shut down. He will be able to find McRory, the one and only Toby. And now let's go, the final player, Enya! And Bayday Esports shut down by AKO Ligers. And now, more for them to bag. AKO Ligers, they want that number 1 spot. They want the 25,000 Peso bonus. Reviola's looking for the 12th spot. Are they going to be able to find it? Axis still alive and kicking. Axis want to make sure that they stay alive 1 second longer than Reviola's and make sure they have enough kills to sustain themselves as well. The points are just way too close. Even Radicals try to catch up with the rest of these teams as well as they try to replace Govinam Views in the 3rd spot. A lot in this final circle to break down.
This is probably one of the best final circles that we can have here. You see here AKO Ligers going up against Bayday Esports and finally bagging that win, secures that top spot, and now another story unfolds. Who's gonna win here? Rev, Aviolas, or Axis? It's gonna be very close because both of these teams want to bag into that 12th spot. And now, who is gonna win here? Because you also have PXT Radicals. You have Eva Radicals trying to go in there for the win as well, trying to stop the push coming in here from all of these teams at the moment. You still have 4. Triple kill from Tanamo as well. And you can see here, very, very tough spot that AKO is in. But it's a good thing. Both of these teams that are left here, very crucial spot.
Yeah, AKO outside. If you're inside of the house, the middle of the zone is just a little bit too far away from you. And AKO in a really great position to jump onto the middle, pull out those blue walls. Tanamo, 18 blue walls on his side. You know this guy is stacked for the final battle. In here, it is going to be hard to reach him unless you have a grenade. Kanoho tries to do exactly that. Lori from the back. Jaboywa down on the ground. Lori cannot be found as Kanoho now pressured by the zone. The blue wall right in front of them. AKO, Chaos right in between. Barba right in front of him. Just still alive and kicking. AKO! AKO still alive! Axis eliminated now. One more team left. And who else could it be, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? They secure exactly what they want. Eva Radicals, they beat all odds in that chaos of a final circle.
Once you saw all those glue walls, that is just GG. That was a really good job from Eva Radicals, Jamil Aguila, Tanamo Pura, and Barba. One of the best teams that we've seen here so far, bagging another booyah for today. And now you can see, flexing all around, Aguila taking a look, spreading his wings very, very wide. But the question is, who's going to be in that number 1 spot? Who's going to be in that 12th spot? I'm pretty sure we're confident who's going to be in that number 1 because Beta Esports had literally 0 kills in that matchup. So it's all about the place with points. But the question is, who's going to be reaching into that lovely coveted 12th spot?
Who's going to be in the 12th spot? Who's going to be in the 3rd place? Who's going to be in the number 1 spot? Like, so much. So much. Yeah, so much can change after this very final round. And you know, what they are aiming for in terms of the prize pool, what they're aiming for in terms of pride on the final day of the group stages. If AKO Ligers have managed to pull this off, the team that has not managed to hit that number 1 spot and stay there throughout the whole league stages, securing it in the most important spot, in the most important day of them all, it will be nothing short of absolutely insane. And the same goes for Rebeliolas. It was a very close fight against Axis.
It was so close that we don't know what is going to happen between those two teams. And it was a really good point that you put out, right? AV Ligers pulled it at the best time in the most clutch way possible into the last day, into the last round, into the final circle where they just absolutely performed the house down. And I'm glad to see Beta Esports finally has a rival that can just shake them up, because for the longest time, even before Philippine Challenger Season 1 into the major that we saw in 2021, no one could touch them when they were still SAP Deathwish, right? It's just so hard to see a team that is so dominant just have a lot of time and effort right now, but finally get to see a team that can bring them down in the form of AV Ligers is just so impressive to see.
But you know, this has been the league stage. This has been a crazy roller coaster ride. You know, up and down we have been brought by all of these teams, all of these squads, all of these crazy players who have been on the hunt for those MVP titles. And you know, a majority of the MVP titles are held by the teams who are in Group A. In fact, by 4 teams who are in Group A. AKO Ligers, Eva Radicals, Go Willem Views, as well as Beta Esports. New Gen and Who's Next, they don't even have one MVP title to their name. And the rest of the groups, you can literally count on one hand how many MVP titles each group has. So it's just crazy, right? The group of death, Group A, most definitely have been doing a lot in this competition all throughout the league stages and have given us so much to talk about, me.
That is so much conversation that we absolutely have no time in this stream at the moment to just fangirl and fanboy about because of how impressive everyone was. So, okay, we're not going to be talking about this right now because we know how dominating all of these teams have gone. But taking a look at the round standings, look at that lovely 20 points and AKO Ligers securing that 17. That is done, dusted. Number 1, good. Rev Aviolas with a 15 and New Gen with 10. Not quite sure if Axis with that 8 points is going to be secured. We don't know what's going to happen yet. Rev Aviolas with that 15 is probably one of the best things to happen for them at the moment.
Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Now, first of all, AKO Liger securing the number 1 spot. That's crazy already, right? But between Axis as well as Raviolas, the last time we checked in on them, it was 185 points versus 176 points. That means 9 points between them. In the previous match, both of these teams secured 0 points for themselves. So, do the math, yo. 9 points is what they required. Unfortunately, in this particular matchup, as Raviolas managed to bag 15 points for themselves, Axis, they fight back with the 8 points. A little too close, a little heartbreaking as well as to how this day will end for some of these teams. In here, it was so close between even the fight for that number 1 and the number 2 spot. It had to boil down to the final circle, like you said, of the final day, the final match.
It's just really, all of these teams, I cannot commend them well enough for such an entertaining matchup. And I'm just so impressed that every time I cast this game, I just get so surprised. And for me, AJ, it's 6:45 in the morning, and I'm fired up because of what I've seen here so far. It is the picturesque ending to our league stages, and heading on over, this energy that we have, we can definitely propel it into our finals matchup. But you know what? Let's give credit to all of the teams that have been performing here so well. Equinox definitely always getting those points and not really letting go till the very end. Who's next with that 5? Monkey Tribe with 4, AB Crusaders with 3, Goblin Moves in 1, and surprisingly, VPH Velocity with 0. So again, with a quick recap that we have here today, round 1 being the starter of we have today, basically set the tone. Bloodyhead was just so amazing. And round number 2, AKO Ligers just securing one more spot, just getting those 2 wins today.
Yeah, and AKO Ligers overall just managing to bag 2 booyahs of the day. Trot WYS, they secured round number 3 and 4. Round 5 went to AKO. Round 6, you saw the insanity in that final circle. All the teams that we were keeping our eye on, all the teams that knew that they had to play every single point, right? They were participating in that final battle of that final circle. And it just so happens that EVA Radicals in the best spot to manage all of that chaos to secure the booyah for themselves. And like we talked about, the most unsuspecting squad of them all, not taking that number 1 spot all throughout the league stages, but when it mattered the most, they pick it up. 434 points. AKO Ligers in that number 1 spot, Beef Mummy.
Vete Esports just dropped the ball in that final matchup, and unfortunate for them, they just had to see AKO Ligers just absolutely rip through the competition, just surprising everyone at the very last moment. Jaw still on the floor, but I want to take a look. I'm gonna skip everyone from the left side, okay? Because I want to focus our attention on the right side. Rev Aviolis, 2 points away from being in that 12th spot. Axis did enough, and this is why we keep saying all the points are so important to have. Every single kill, every positioning, because it's a matter of 1 or 2 points for you to be in this competition or not.
Yeah, absolutely right. And if you've played this a little bit safer from the get-go, you would have been a team like, for example, Who's Next. To look at them, they did not focus on their kills at all. They focused mainly on their placement points, and they were able to secure the top 12. They were able to secure the grand finals for themselves. Look at a team like Ego Oblivions, 161 placement points with 67 kills. This was a team, once again, who focused on the main objective from the start of the competition until now. They focused on making sure they can secure the guaranteed points out of placements and then shoot a few players down in that final circle. That's a sound strategy that has been executed time and time again by Vete Esports. But the one team, the meta breakers, the ones who will prove that you don't really need a strat like that, you can creep up from the back, and being like the apex predators out there in the jungle, the Ligers from the side of AKO, once again, last day, last opportunity, and they snatch it up.
They just brought it to the table. They were on another level today, and that is just so impressive to see from all of these teams. But speaking of impressive play, let's take a look at the MVP. It's going to be the one and only Kanoho yet again. Oh my goodness, AKO Ligers just keep winning today with 7 kills with a damage of 2,230, assists of 4, and a hit rate of 37%. This guy, he looks like he's frowning and pouting. You should basically put that frown upside down because of how well this guy has been performing, the most consistent player out of the whole squad here so far.
Final day, not only do they take away the number 1 spot, Kanoho will solidify his absolute record-breaking streak. 5 MVP titles picked up in the league stages on behalf of AKO Ligers. The most amongst all other teams that are in the Free Fire Challenges Philippines Season 1. How insane is that, Beef?
It's just a matter of like how you play against a guy like that. Everyone else in this team is just so talented, but Kanoho, to be so consistent as to get so much MVPs, he's the most. And how many MVPs has he gotten? 7? Has it been 7 or 6?
5.
I'm pretty sure it's around that number, 5, right?
Yeah.
So I want to commend this guy because he's just been spearheading through, and his talent is being utilized really well by his teammates.
And no doubt about that at all, right? Kanoho, he plays his grenades really well. The long-range engagement is solid. He does have that shotgun on him as that backup in situations to make sure he's an all well-rounded player, and round after round it serves him so good. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all of the strats important, hardware even more. Infinix Mobile, the official sponsor of the Free Fire Challenges Philippines. You get to fire up your game with Infinix's best-selling gaming smartphone, the Infinix Note 11S.
Just the best of the best. The Infinix Note 11S is a powerful smartphone with a Helio G96 Ultra gaming processor. Fire up your game and get this now for only 9,990 pesos. And you know what? All of these games that we've seen so far in the league stages has boiled it down to this one moment where we finally have the top 12 teams that can go and perform. If you want to be as good as them, get your hands on this phone right now, because definitely it's your arsenal. If you are a gamer, it's the tech, it's the hardware that you have. So AJ, I just want to end the day with commending 3 teams that we've been just fanboying, fangirling all about today, right?
Yeah.
We have Trot WIS trotting their way from the 13th spot into the 11th spot. And number 2, you have Axis, finally securing it, just only 2 points in between them and Rev Aviolas. And obviously you have the AKO Ligers team that just dethroned Beta Esports, who've been into the top spot for the longest time.
Absolutely right. I mean, just monumental changes on the final day in here, and AKO, the ones who are the happiest. But what is going to break down, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, when we get to the grand finals on the 6th of February, 8 p.m., you know what it is. Mark your calendars, because all of that roller coaster ride that we've been through all throughout the league stages for the Free Fire Challenges Philippines Season 1, it will now get into 1 day, 6 rounds, the top 12, one team, supreme beyond all the rest, with a huge pie, a huge piece of that pie, as well as that pride. My name's AJ, I'm the Mustachio, down here with the one and only Beef Mommy. Make sure you guys mark your calendars, because we'll catch you there. Take care, good night, and goodbye.
Hello, my name is John Michael Elcera, also known as McRory. I am 23 years old. I am from Team Betty Esports and my position is Team Captain. One fun fact about myself is I started playing games since I was young and even won a physical prize. Ang gaming setup ko ay simple lang. Phone ko, earphones, isang unan, pulbos, at isang boteng tubig. Nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire noong November 2017. Pinakilala kasi ito sa akin ng aking kaibigan. And proud akong sabihin na isa ako sa mga beta player. The game is very fun and competitive. At kahit sobrang tagal ko na naglalaro ng Free Fire, bawat match o laro is still as exciting as the day noong nagsimula ako maglaro ng Free Fire. Ang best moment ko ay nung ginamit ko ang grenade launcher to do a squad wipe in FFPO Grand Finals Game 2, and it gave my team a momentum to get a booyah in that round. Isa sa pangarap ko ang maging professional esports player. Madami ako nasalihan at naipanalo ng tournament, kaya nang sumikap ako hanggang sa nabot ko pagiging pro player. Isa pang dahilan ay kumikita ako ng pera habang ginagawa ko yung hilig ko. After matapos ng MCP Season 1, umalis yung dalawang player, at dahil invited ang team ko sa MCP Season 2, naganap ako ng 2 player para ma-meet yung requirement. Nirecommend ng kaibigan ko yung dalawang player na kakilala niya na may experience sa tournament, kaya agad ko sila ni-recruit upang mabuo ang SAP Death Wish na ang tawag ngayon ay Betty Esports. Yung time na sa sobrang Seni 4 beats, nampas niya ng unan sa mukha si Damon nung nagawa namin maging top 3 sa Group A play-ins ng Free Fire Asia Championship. Want to know how I play? Catch me on Free Fire Challengers Philippines. Tara, Free Fire!
Right now is in there going in, taking down
Oh,
Crusaders,
wow.
but no, Sao has been taken down. AKO right now is in prime position.
Blake's not going to be too happy about that, but there's nothing he can do. Mark shuts down Fire before he can get away, and those snipes, the backup might just come through.
They go in for the pickup, but what a play! Axis gets taken out of the equation as well. Reveyolas gets into the fight against Equinox. Equinox shutting them down one after the other. Hack will get caught as well, and it looks like the players are facing forward with McRory. Stop that. Tokyo now back on the ground. McRory from afar. Grenade launch not in play just yet. McRory, the Kobe of AJ Esports, finally pulls out that nade. Is he going to be able to hit it? Yes, he hits it! In here, Blocky takes those shots against Newgen. Newgen! Newgen! They will be able to bag a lot, but Newgen themselves gets eliminated by Trot WYS, and now Eva Radicals making their way in here to the final zone. Golden Views, Whisket as well taken out. A double nade being sent by Tanamo as well as Rabiel, but Trot WYS finishes them as well with those nades, Neptune. JC Jacob, he just has got machine in front of him, pulls out the castle flash, and the plan goes for the pickup right now. And they will have 2 players on their side, but not a lot of cover.
Oh, and there goes the hit.
Okay,
Eagle will be flying out and will be hit. Will be able to run away, AJ, but how long?
Hello, my name is John Michael Elcera, also known as McRory. I am 23 years old. I am from Team Betty Esports and my position is team captain. One fun fact about myself is I started playing games since I was young, and even